Market trying to get back to the upside here this morning as we kick off a brand new week. We are anticipating it to be an exciting one. Lots of big events to come, including NVIDIA earnings. Finally, we'll get NVIDIA's latest report. Just sifting through a few headlines here for Tesla going red to green here in the last few minutes. Just 0.05%, but big move off the lows there. FSD software update coming to Chinese Tesla owners. Over the air update from Tesla just coming across. A few other things to discuss as far as Tesla is concerned so far this morning. Overall, there is the market, as I mentioned there, about 0.5% after that just straight to the south side all day long move on Friday. NASDAQ, the S&P, didn't matter where you were. It was just selling all day long. We go out basically on the lows. Nice bounce back here for the NASDAQ. There's the S&P, similar look, going out basically on the lows on Friday. Back to the upside here to the tune of about 0.5%, ahead of what's going to be an exciting week here to come. Some data to come later in the week, nothing this morning. I mean, there's the Chicago Fed National Activity Index that came out there. Downside print there, negative 0.03 at 8:30. Didn't really move the market. How was your weekend?
Fantastic. Not a bad weekend at all. Got a little R&R. But I was going to say to you, I really like these red, aggressive sell-off days because you can see where the relative strength is. What didn't sell off or what actually, stayed flat. A couple of names there. We'll talk about those in a minute. Lots to talk about today, Brendo. So Microsoft in focus. They're cutting AI spending. Apple doing the exact opposite. So
more.
More AI spending. $500 billion from Apple. Tesla. So many headlines today. They're refreshing the Model X and the Model S. They're also hiring for the Cybercap, so plenty to talk about there. Baba down, but got an upgrade, and Rivian a couple of downgrades today. Nike the opposite look, upgrade again after what's his name, the Pershing Square guy, Ackman. He added into his position.
Yeah, a lot too. I saw Bill really liking Nike. We'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, you mentioned Apple. There's the chart right now, 244 coming into play. Still red on the morning here, 0.75 for Apple. Back to the downside. They're going to build out a AI facility in Texas to the tune of, as you said, $500 billion. So a huge investment coming from Apple. Palantir to the downside this morning as well. There was a headline on that. Seemed kind of minor as far as I thought, but coming into that low from Thursday's session there, 3.5% here for PLTR. Good to have everyone back in the building this morning after, man, it was, the flu went around here or something went around here all week last week. So it's good to be back at full strength. Sean back this morning as well. Good morning.
Hey. Back. It wasn't, I don't know if everyone got it, but as long as it's not that
I don't think it was
corona
the flu either, but I don't know what it was. I don't.
Not the new corona. As long as it ain't that.
COVID-25.
We're good to go. Apparently, my mic needs some love. Allegedly.
But
COVID-25,
COVID-25,
we're not doing it again.
Well, after the show, we all got to take our vaccines over there, so we got to get ready.
Oh yeah. We get to vote in the province this week, but that's another story. This Tesla move is actually
Thursday.
Like 2 seconds ago at the beginning of the show, Brendan said almost red to green Tesla. No, Tesla is green now. So it just moved another couple of bucks there from the time that we started at 8:30 and looking pretty good. Tesla was a bleeder on Friday. The story on Friday was should have held on to every single short from the morning. But I think there's a lot of stock that came into some pretty good areas for support. We were talking about that last week, and Tesla not quite to that prior low, but full FSD in China looking pretty good here. Randy, so Tesla.
If that's what,
green.
So my guy, ooh, nice, thank you.
Don't hit it too hard. You don't want to bruise the banana.
The new caterers I think they got a little different banana action going on over there with the new.
They actually, look at that, bring it ripe.
Yeah,
it's a ripe banana.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it real.
Yeah, Tesla full self-drive in China, it looks like there, Randy, so that's going to be a good announcement there. Rivian getting hit today. I don't know what's going on with Rivian here.
It's still...
B of A Securities, downgrade Rivian, neutral, underperform. Price target 13. Oh, from 13 to 10. So they get lowered here. Yeah, 10s is the best spot. So Randy with a bold comment that if Rivian goes down another 25% is where you'll be buying it.
Again.
So, yeah. Exactly. So backing up the truck until the truck goes into the ditch. And then when the truck goes into the ditch, we pull it out with a Cybertruck. But yeah, $8.50, $9, $10. Look, this gives you an opportunity to buy Rivian right back there at the 200 period moving average. So it's not the end of the world by any stretch there for Rivian, but down there 3%. Palantir continues to bleed out. Remember, we got some out there at 114 last week, which was pretty lucky. Well, lucky, whatever. You got to trim some when it goes up there. So now down through $100. We'll wait to see about some movement there with Palantir. We've got Elimination Chamber coming this Saturday, Saturday. Here in Toronto. I think The Rock should be there. Cena should be there. Should be a lot of fun as well. So that should be fun times going with the family and friends. So that should be good. There's Tesla. Yeah, 340
so strong
right now. So only up, like, it's not even up that much.
Well, it was down a couple points.
Oh, no, that's the thing. Like, this could go a lot more. Only up 0.7 right now for Tesla. Full self-drive. I mean, 360. Remember, it's not this. I don't really think this has been confirmed quite yet, but that's sort of the rumor that's going around. 363, 365 has been sort of that local top. I mean, it's not impossible to get there today, so we'll see if that is the case coming through again. But yeah, Elon should be. Hopefully. I mean, again, with all this Doge, we had some talk there about, you know, what did you do last week? Give me those 5 things or the 3 things that you did, and send them immediately. So I slept. I watched the new. Well, we talked about that. I didn't see the new episode of White Lotus. I gotta watch that.
You finally watched Deadpool versus
Wolverine. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was that good.
It's the worst in the series.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I don't know. The third.
I thought I don't know. It wasn't that exciting to me. But and then I went to see. I just went with my kid to the theater. We went to see the new Brave New World there, the Captain America. Was that any good? Yeah, for me to go with him, I thought it was good. Yeah, it was typical Marvel kind of movie.
I'm kind of hoping.
I don't know what the ratings are for it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's setting any records, but you know.
Hey man, as long as
I like Harrison Ford.
They need to win.
Yeah, I like Harrison Ford, and he was in that one. But isn't there another Marvel one coming out or something? Some characters like the Unknowns or something. What is it called?
You know what? I'm not as
Classic Four. Yeah, I don't. Oh, Fantastic
the Fantastic
Four.
Four. The amount of times they've tried Fantastic
Four.
What was the one I'm thinking about? Is like
I don't know.
ridiculous.
They just keep going and going with all this stuff. And talk about going and going.
Good, man.
So, you know, like
44.
we just said Tesla was at 340. You know, now it's at 344. I was just saying up here, remember I was like, Tesla's only up 0.6.
This is ridiculous.
Tesla's up 1.9% right now. The Thunderbolts. That's what it was.
What the heck is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just some kind of some random thing going on there. No, but it was fun. You know, I got to see Wesley Snipes was in that Deadpool Wolverine there. Blade was made an appearance there. That was kind of fun. But anyways, all right, there it goes. Wow. Are we punching long on Tesla here or what? Because this is still going on.
350 by the open?
Yeah, none. You know, we'll put some trades on here today for sure. I know it was a pretty good week. We want to thank Obi. Joe is back in the building right now.
Baba from the beach, showing everybody up, chilling out. I can't wait to be on the beach. I hope you did some push-ups while you were on vacation over there. So he said he did his push-ups. I talked to Shreve. We're grabbing a coffee.
Vacation.
He's like, yeah, you know, I did a couple of sessions in the gym yesterday, so I was doing this and that, and then I had to drop into some push-ups because I'm going to beat Joe. And that's exactly how he said it. Had to do some push-ups because I'm going to beat Joe. Straight up.
Imagine if we actually had a trading competition. That would be fun. You know, why don't we do something like that where we put out, you know, we could figure out like a percentage of nets, then we can get going, something I can compete in. Randy, how's the snow going up there?
Down.
Did you? Yeah, good. Thank God. Hey, today's supposed to be 5 degrees, so today we're looking at like 40 something Fahrenheit today. It's a nice.
Till Friday.
I thought it was going back to zeros, one-ish, stuff like that.
Wait till all this snow starts to melt, then
all right.
It's gonna be trouble.
Liquid cocaine. Thank you.
The mound at the end of my driveway is up to my shoulder. Like it's out of control. Well, one of my neighbors, they built a fort, and her and her daughter were going to sleep in it overnight. They're like, well, but it wasn't early. They get up early, so that
neighbor not smart.
It was big. No, but the fact that they built a fort in their backyard that was big enough to sleep in, You got a lot of snow if you can do.
And then when that collapses on you, two die.
Oh, I
in
told you she's
tragic
crazy.
event.
I go, you're crazy.
Two die in tragic
There is no
events.
chance. Like, you're not actually building an igloo in your backyard.
Or you can build them, but I don't think you should sleep in it. Is what I'm
Well,
saying.
I wouldn't
Like
trust.
that's all I'm saying. Yeah, because
I wouldn't
with the quick change in temperature is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the weight, all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Anyways, obviously they didn't do that. But yeah, I used to love doing that. We used to live. Remember where in Brampton we had that the
big cul-de-sac.
So they would put all the snow in the middle. So you almost had like your own little hill.
Dude, you probably could have been like tobogganing like in front of the house.
We
there.
would build inside of there. So that was a lot of fun. But
Yeah, that's always fun.
all right, 345 and change. Somebody just signed some sort of an exclusive deal with Uber, but that's not really moving Uber around here too much. Uber 77, the fall from 80, huh? All right, well, look, lots to talk about. We will have, I can see in the green room right now, Michael Noss, so that should be exciting. My guess is he's going to say exactly what Sharif did. Look for where the relative strength is in some of these names. But I could be wrong.
It's in Tesla.
Could be wrong. There could be some coins that are talked about as well. I'm disappointed. Bitcoin 96 still. I mean,
Bitcoin stunk last week.
Yeah, not really doing too much of a dance there. We have Joe is at 125 or Sharif's the 125? Sharif needs 125.
No,
Okay.
Joe's winning that one. Joe's gonna win that one.
And that's by May.
Yeah, it's by early May, I think.
Okay. There's a lot of competition going on. Yeah. All right, good. All right, let's go back to the desk. Right, so the Nasdaq up 0.4. What was it down? It was down 2.1 on Friday. So we'll see if it can make back half of that before the market opens. Why not?
Things definitely trying to help right now. Starbucks, one of those. Not a lot of volume behind this, but some job cuts announced by, it's actually the Wall Street Journal coming through reporting this. 1,100 corporate, quote unquote, corporate jobs going to be cut by Starbucks. So a little bit of a pop there on very light volume. Another one that was definitely weak heading into the weekend. There's that note for Tesla. So they're going to roll out full self-driving in China in batches, quote unquote, in batches. It'll also include assisted driving for city roads as well. So that was that initial move there for Tesla. Hood up as well on that note regarding the SEC, as the guys are mentioning. Michael Noss waiting patiently here. We'll get to him right away. We touched on this a little bit on Friday. The simple fact that the U.S. has not only been lagging the rest of the world, but in a fairly significant way. So Mr. Noss spent a lot of time, as he normally does on the weekend, talking about or looking through a whole bunch of charts. Michael Noss, good to see you. Happy Monday, as always. Where are we traveling to find some relative strength here today?
Oh, we're gonna go all around the world. So one of the beauties is that, when you talked about this on Friday, I instantly knew there's ETFs for all these names, right? It's awesome that whatever it is that you want, there seems to be an ETF for already. So yeah, let's take a look at the world and see what's going on there. So the first chart is just the SP 500. As of the weekend where I put this together, looks like we're bouncing a little bit here, but just kind of wanted to show that really we haven't done anything for the entire year and a little bit longer. We're kind of right where we were in around November, December of last year, and we're knocking on the door of March. So, I talked about in the beginning of the year 3 of a bull market is usually a bit of a chop fest. Seems to be what's happening so far. So also, I put in the 50-day moving average because I think this might just be a little bit of a helpful tool for those trying to look for relative strength, and a way to look at it is just pop on a moving average. Doesn't really matter what it is, and look how far price is above or below that moving average to determine which ones have been strong over that period or weak over that period. So 50-day moving average, roughly 3 months or so of data, and you can see we are right there as of Friday's close. And then we got to take a look and say, okay, are we doing better than the rest of the world? Are we doing worse than the rest of the world when it comes to that kind of anchor of that moving average? So the next chart we have is ACWI. So this is, up one, went 2 there. There we go. ACWI. So this is the All Country World Index. So this is essentially every stock in the entire world, including the US, and roughly what's happening there. So the idea is that if this is outperforming just the US, then it means that there's got to be other countries out there that are pushing this higher, especially because the US is such a large component of this particular ETF. So we have a big we've got the 50-day moving average, and you can see we're above it, right? With the same kind of pattern, had that sell off on Friday, butting against all-time highs, but at least over that 50 days, or again, roughly 3 months, we've been quite a bit above it. So we're doing better when it comes to the whole world than the US, which means there's probably other places that are pushing it out. So more evidence for this is the next chart that I have, which is ACWX. So this is the All Country World Index ex-US. So the easiest way to look at this is the rest of the world, right? Take the whole world, pull the US out. How is everybody else kind of combined doing? And you can see I just drew a little line between the current price and the 50-day moving average. So using that as a reference, we are well above that. Again, showing that although not at all-time highs like we are in the US, over this last couple month time frame, we've been doing really good. You know, you're talking a 10% or so move in this particular index. So the rest of the world, where the US is sitting around a 0% move. So nice move there in the All Country World Index. Nice kind of separation from that area right there. And the next chart is one of the biggest things that I think everyone's thinking about right now, which is China, right? China's been one of the leaders absolutely out there. It's probably the biggest part of that ACWX that's really moving the market. This is FXI, so this is kind of the S&P 500 of China, right? It's the large cap index, and it's bopping up against those all-time highs. We know names like BABA and everything are well above it. Again, full disclosure, I always try to say this when I have a chart up. I own a lot of China. I've been buying this for a while now, and we are popping right up against that high. But there's another couple countries as I went through. There's probably, I think, 30 or 40 ETFs. And for those who are looking for them, they all start with EW. So I don't know what the naming convention is there, but the next chart I have is EWG. So if you go and you start typing in your platform EW, it will just populate with all of the, right, EWJ being Japan, EWC being Canada, in this case, EWG being Germany. So I think Germany is like the 4th or 5th largest economy in the world, so it's very good to see breaking out to new all-time highs, actually doing a little bit better in the overall market. I picked a line chart here just because we had to zoom way out, because 2018 was the last time that it made a new high, came back down, hit that high again in 2021, came back down again, finally at a new all-time high in 2025. To me, this looks great. A large base here, you know, a lot of overhead demand. If you can get through that, you can push up. Now, for these, how to trade them, you can either trade just these ETFs as a whole if you just want to diversify yourself outside, or you can start to look at, you know, different country or different companies that would be in these particular ETFs. It's kind of easier to think of, I think, when it comes to a lot of the world. Again, they have to publish these on the website. So if you just Google EWG Holdings, they're right there. But we can all think, you know, one big name I know would be Volkswagen, would be part of this. This next one, I don't know. So maybe you guys comment and let me know. This is EWI. Both Italy, I didn't include both charts, but both Italy and Spain are breaking out to new highs and breaking out pretty substantially. They were the strongest charts that I saw out there, minus China, was Italy and Spain. Now, you know, I'm thinking like designer clothes, fancy wines. I don't know. I haven't quite been there yet, but it's interesting to see that the other parts of the world are pushing out. So I think this kind of leads to a bigger conversation and something that we need to talk about when it comes to the rest of the world. So some people are going to say, hey, I'm only going to invest in America regardless. I just want my money to be, you know, over in my home country, called home country bias. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but I think understanding the makeup of these other ETFs versus America would make a lot of sense. So America, most of our indexes are tech weighted, like a large tech, you know, your big guys out there, your Teslas, your Amazons, your Apples, all that. When it comes to these other countries and these other countries that are moving, they're not as tech weighted. So, you know, if you're interested, again, you can buy any of these ETFs or trade it on the US markets. If not, just understand that this may represent a bit of a flight to safety. So you could start to think of other countries inside of America that would benefit if the rest of the world is going to start to develop and start to see a boom. I'm thinking John Deere, Caterpillar, some of these industrial type names that are a little bit more prevalent here than the other. So that's the around the world trip for Michael Noss.
That narrative of, I mean, you can also make the argument, I guess, on the other hand, that if the U.S. has been leading over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years, this is just a catch-up play. So if you zoom out maybe even further, monthly, yearly charts even, this is maybe just a rotation and a catch-up play versus where the U.S. is currently, as you said, third year of a bull market, you know, more or less a sideways chop. at this point, but maybe the next move might be the one that everyone needs to be keyed in on.
Yeah, I think the rotation is the key word to nail in on that. We talk about this all the time, is that if you've made a bunch of money, and we're talking institutions and hedge funds, made a bunch of money in the AI play, and you go to start taking profit on that, NVIDIA hasn't done anything in ever, and the SPY hasn't done anything, you are mandated to put money to work. A lot of these large institutions, they are mandated to say you have to be 90, 99, I've seen % invested. So what they're trying to always do is, as they get bigger and as things are going well, they move their money to different areas. In bear markets and scary markets, they sell things, they buy, treasuries, they buy bonds, all of that. In bull markets like this, they're always looking for kind of what's next. So I think that rotation is key, where they're saying, okay, the US isn't doing anything. If I'm not making money for my investors, they're going to get cranky. So let me look at these other countries, and seeing these countries break out to new highs and saying, okay, well, if I diversify some of my money over there, well, then I beat the guy next to me, because the guy next to me is probably still investing in the US. So I think this is just a money rotational kind of thing, more than it is a narrative idea.
Opens the door to a whole bunch more ideas and a whole bunch more symbols that I think people have been looking at over the past 3 to 5 years that we've been touching on this show. Great stuff as always. Michael Noss back with us after the close tonight. We'll see you then.
I'll talk to you then.
Thanks, Michael. Looking forward to it. And one of the things about rotation, as they say, is, look, if you have a sideways choppy market here and you're rotating from the theme could be outside of the U.S., you got to start thinking about sectors as well.
See
because
you guys tonight.
When we get one of those choppy markets in there, see you, Michael. When you get one of those choppy markets in there, you're going to get these good pullbacks across individual sectors, and then you might see opportunities that you're not looking for, and you want to be prepared for them. We talked about the banks, the financials pulling back recently here. And I happen to have JPM up, and there was a little continuation on Friday because everything fell, but this is getting close to its 50 period. And when you're in this type of an environment, we don't think we're going to get 20% gains on the market. There's going to be some interesting, dip buy opportunities for maybe some people like to swing, or if you just like it in the long term, is there's a malaise. If you're patient enough, you can get those long-term buys. It's not just as simple as, well, buy the first day of the dip, I think, this year. You have to wait for things to come in a bit. And JPM may be a day or two away, I think, from getting it to its 50-period moving average there as well. And XLF looking at a dip buy in that as well. And I think that's the kind of year that we're dealing with, where it's not just buy and it's rocket ship to the upside. You got to be ready for some of these pullbacks and know what it is that you're looking for next.
All right. Yeah. I want to buy some Robinhood. I think there's been obviously a missed opportunity. I could have had this in the teens, could have had it, actually any price. Nice move to the upside, and look at this, man. Now you start to come, way back in. So $66 again, coming back in into 52. Their average deposit's going up. Their average account on hold is going up. And when you can make money like that, and hopefully a lower interest rate coming through as well, may encourage some more stimulus into the market. Then maybe Robinhood starts to go back up to the upside as some of those net assets under management can get a little bit higher there. But yeah, they got a little upgrade there today. We'll find out more about Robinhood. It's on the watch list. But just talking about getting into something else here, this has been a nice move down, and I really, really enjoy trading and at least looking at Robinhood. Probably going to try to pick something there up in the swing account for Robinhood. SoFi has been pretty disappointing, not doing anything like Robinhood's been doing. But if you do like new finance, that's been a nice move down as well. That was 17 to 14.50. So it's not like that's a move to sneeze at as well, right? So that's down about 10% last week. We'll wait to see what SoFi can do, if it can hold in around this $13.50, $14. But yeah, looking at different areas. I mean, the sticky note's out now. You guys can go get it at TraderTV.live. People have been in the chat about that. This has been pretty parabolic for me to see this, So FXI, I didn't know Michael was going to talk about China, but I've already talked about this right here as a short. So I'm looking to fade this move today as well in FXI. So I have a couple ideas to go, and you're in the right spot if you're trying to hear them. So that's about it. Thanks, Michael Noss, for coming through again, and we'll figure that out, and he'll be on again with Neil here at the after show. So thank you to Michael for coming through there today, and he'll be back, and you can ask him some questions or whatever the format is going to be tonight. Good earnings week again, so lots of names, not just NVIDIA there on Wednesday, but lots coming through.
Well, there's a big one that needs to come through tomorrow, I'll tell you that much, and that's SMCI. So we'll see if they actually meet that deadline. Still,
but that actually doesn't mean anything to the market, though.
Well, no, it doesn't mean anything to the market. It means something to that stock. That's a stock that every single day that stock has given, I don't want to jinx it because then maybe it doesn't move today, but pretty much every single day it's doing 5 to 10% type moves intraday on SMCI. So it's one that you want to watch for sure. So I see Celery 2's geared up in the chat there. Who next? Let's see what is next up at the desk.
Yeah, we'll get some upgrades and downgrades here coming through in a second. There's, I'm just hearing quite a few small caps still moving around here this morning as well. STEC, one of those, was just keeping an eye on Robinhood as well. A little bit of a down tick for Robinhood, but STEC, the big one, $3, up 300% right now. YYAI, all you have to do is put AI and good things will happen. 160% here, just went through 150 in a hurry. Lots of volume behind these so far as well. I mean, 70 million on that STEC already.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it, Brendo. It's holding VWAP here. It's looking awfully good, awfully bull flag-ish on STEC. We'll keep an eye on this one for the show, the How to Trade show during the midday. The S&P, or sorry, not the S&P, the Russell 2000 got destroyed last week. It was one of the worst performing major indices. It's well off the highs. I believe last time I looked, it was about 13% off the all-time highs that we put back in the fall. It didn't matter though, Brendo, because small caps continue to run. I keep seeing about 3 or 4 triple-digit winners every day. We almost had a quadruple-digit winner last week, so small caps have been in play.
There's a couple of people mentioning WDC. There was a business separation. They took a couple of parts of their business and separated it into 2 separate entities. So $70 back on Friday. We're down to $52.50 here for Western Digital. Okay, let's jump over to Adair and get some upgrades and downgrades.
Here with Alibaba, one of last week's big winners, down about 3.5% today, but getting an upgrade here at a $180 price target from Morgan Stanley. Nike here with an upgrade from Jefferies Financial. They're pretty bullish on new CEO Elliott Hill and his plan for the company's turnaround. You can read more about this Nike note in our Trader TV Live watch list. RTX, you're getting an upgrade from the UBS after a pretty tumultuous week for some of these defense stocks on rumors of cuts for spending for the military. Then we have Block here getting an upgrade from BMO Capital Markets after its earnings last week. On the downgrade side of things, another earnings name from last week, Rivian, getting a downgrade here from BofA Securities. Guggenheim also cut its price target for the stock. Lucid here, another EV play, getting a downgrade from Redbird Atlantic. We have GOS7 with a downgrade from Jefferies Financial. And Boyd Gaming here getting downgraded by Morgan Stanley, guys. What a list.
Interesting list. Nike, not at the top of those upgrades, but I think it's at the top of the ones that are looking really strong on the daily. So Nike, whether Ackman likes it or not, or what he's buying or not, 79 is the local top. Looks like it has a chance to break it out here today. It's got decent pre-market volume. It gave a nice consolidative end of the week last week, so you can't hate that. And now we're gapping above, so 79 can break. Or we even look back at the 77.5 prior high. So we get Friday, Wednesday, Tuesday, 3 times it tested 77.5, even on a dip. Want to look dips into 77.5 on Nike today. Want to look breakout at 79. Just do it. Apparently is back.
Yeah, so I have Rivian here. It's going to be on the sticky note. Again, people asking for it on the chat, so it's right here. Come over here. 500,000 subscribers right now. We want to thank everybody for being one of those subscribers. If you haven't hit the like or the subscribe, Fabian, or the share, or any of that kind of stuff yet, now is your chance. So let's go. Hit the like and the subscribe and get going. So there's a sticky note right there.
Fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
We need new ones. Yeah. We need some new ones of those. There's Rivian, 13 short. We have it right there. Downgraded at BofA and at Guggenheim. So get that going for us. I like this play. Double downgraded off of an earnings report last week that we've already slipped off of a pretty easy high there in and around $15 that we had topped up before. So I like the move down. I like the move down into this $12.50 or something. And I pity the fool of those who are long Rivian. All right, back to the desk.
All right, let's get a look at the market here to kick things off, and then a ton to know as we head into the Monday Open.
60.30, Brendo. That's where we closed out on Friday. I was going to say yesterday on the ES March contract. So we got into these areas that we had defended prior. I'm talking about that February 12th low into that 60.25. Again, onto that February 9th low at around 60.25 as well. So it looks like we're holding up at that 25-30 point area. We're already above it, half a point in the green here. So we're going to look at 60.75 as resistance today. If we blow through 75 and we're on our way to recovery, then we're looking at that 100-point area, obviously, as resistance, 6,100. If we continue to sell off, we'll look to the overnight low, 60.30, 60.25 as support.
If you haven't done so yet, I have free stuff for you. Jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to that page. And then all you need is your email address. You can have that every single day. It comes right to your inbox in the morning before we come on at 8:30. Has everything on it that's moving around in the pre-market and why they are doing so. 2% here to the upside for NVIDIA, looking good ahead of Wednesday. Remember, after the close, we'll get earnings from NVIDIA. There was a note on demand this morning for NVIDIA.
Yeah, Brendo, good look here. Let's talk a little bit about what to expect from NVIDIA. So their Blackwell architecture obviously is in demand, and that's the next product that we're really looking at here to stimulate revenue. So they Jensen said lately that demand has been insane for their Blackwell architecture. He expects it to surpass their initial revenue forecast. So analysts widely expecting that to be a little bit higher than what had been discussed previously. With respect to some of the launch impact that they're going to have, we saw a little bit of a sell-off, obviously, there. With actually not a little bit, a market record sell-off of about $500 million. On NVIDIA stock, with DeepSeek kind of putting some of those AI spending numbers in question.
Yeah, a couple of big days to come here ahead of the report on Wednesday, but all kinds of relative strength here so far this morning, guys.
It was kind of this morning, you would have thought that it was going to be like that relative strength leader, but then Tesla did its thing. So obviously I'm going to like Tesla maybe a little bit better on the momentum just that it put in. You can't know Tesla's going to run $13 in the pre-market already. NVIDIA had a rough go of it on Friday, but the couple of pieces of good news, it held on to some good support from early in the week, like down 134. It held on to the, whoops, let me just zoom that in a little bit. So it held on to the 50 period on the daily, which is right around that 134, 135. So as long as it holds above 35, keep the dream alive there. So I'm gonna like Tesla a little bit better as a long play. But if we go dip and rip on NVIDIA, I'm looking at that. As long as it's above the 35, want all kinds of continuation longs. On the other side of the coin, and there is one, AMD's chart looks similar on Friday, but AMD, as usual, just couldn't find its way to break out. But was able to get above the trend line that it's been in for the last like half a year. It wicked. It just wasn't able to take out the top, as you can see. And last week, every single day, AMD made its high of the day before noon. Most of the time, it was very early in the morning. Like, look at all these topping tail candles. Sometimes it'd be a little bit later, but topping tail after topping tail after topping tail candle. So this is just a stock that's a short right now. And if we pop the first place, I mean, forget about the 115 where it was selling on Friday after that. Looking at the 113 level, even pre-market highs. I want every chance that if there is one of these topping tail candles again, I want the reversion on AMD today. Like, it's just insane how many times it has like not a parabolic move up, but a strong move up, sometimes at the open, and then just completely reverts that move. Hasn't been good for AMD, but that's the kind of pattern. If the market bounces, you got to look short on AMD.
Yeah, I mean, I think AMD eventually is going to be a long, of course, but yeah, fighting that one for a minute. All right, so yeah, wow, AMD 110, geez. All right, I wrote down NVIDIA is going to be the number one idea here on the sticky note. I just think it's time to get ramped up here into that report. I feel like the report's going to be pretty huge, and the stock is actually. Oh no, that's right, it's gonna go. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. The stock is actually primed for, in my opinion, I kind of like the way this looks. Now we're gonna have to give it 2 days. It doesn't report till Wednesday. But again, Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to have to just look at a better chart here so I can find that 200 period. So this was AMD, right? I called this thing Advanced Money Destroyer back here, like when this thing was 170, 165. So there's 65% to the downside that we called on AMD. But NVIDIA, as we've been saying, this is the name that we've been buying up. And again, this is what I was looking for. So there's the move down. There's the hold at the 200 period moving average. It was kind of amazing that it actually even tested that. That's that deep seek. So they gave you an opportunity to get down there. Then now you break through without too much resistance. I mean, the 50 period was okay. Then we break it out. The only thing about the 50 period is it didn't mean a whole heck of a lot in and around here. It's nice when it's trending to the upside, but NVIDIA right now has been very, very choppy. So what I'm looking for is a hold right now in and around this area, and that's 135. So I feel like that chart just looked like it was 134, but I was sort of down here. That's 134.75. You know, anyways, at the end of the day, I'm trying to go long here NVIDIA, and I'm going to use, like I've always been using, this 200 period moving average. So right now that's at 135.20. We're starting to slope up here. I think up 1.7%, market up here. Get long. I think the report's going to be big. Where do we go after the report? How about new all-time highs? So I would say right here, 152. Like, that's going to be easy day. And then after that, the sky's the limit. That should be your support after earnings is going to be my thing. But again, if you're bearish, you know, stay away from it. But I'm pretty bullish. And if you are bearish, play the other way around, right? I mean, you do have some levels on the upside for NVIDIA here as well. You know, we've already been up to this 140 and failed a couple times. So if you just up that a little bit into 141 and change, I think we could get there today. So this could be a good fade area. So either you're waiting for the long like I am and getting a little aggressive on that, or you're patient and waiting for that top. Hopefully I'm already in a $3 or $4 winner by the time that happens, and it's never a problem to get out of winners. It's how you deal with your losers. So for me, if this continues to work down and break that 135, I don't even want to see it look at this 134. So we'll probably bail on a 135 and then regroup at that point. So there's a couple like hit and misses here today. Palantir will be one of them. We'll talk about that soon, and then hopefully we'll discuss Apple right now.
A little bit here, 244 trying to hold right now on the bid, but might not. 0.6 to the downside. If you missed it this morning, $500 billion investment going into Texas and an quote-unquote AI factory. What they're actually going to build remains to be seen. Sharif and I were just mentioning maybe they bring in other components, bring in other parts of the business to onshore them once again. Gets down to 240 there at the low. Nice bounce, but here we go. Just went through 244 there.
All right, let's talk about the details of what we know, Brendo. So they're going to build about a 250,000 square foot facility, as Brendo mentioned, in Houston. I'm being told here by 2026, and the purpose of this factory is to build AI servers. They're partnering here with Foxconn. It's obviously these AI servers are to help drive growth with their Apple Intelligence, which they keep releasing piecemeal. Some of the investments are going to be, or some of the money is going to be spent on supplier purchases. They're also going to spend more money on Apple TV productions, as well as R&D expansions. They're going to add about 20,000 new R&D jobs to be able to support that goal. They're also partnering with TSMC already, as we know. They plan to increase their advanced manufacturing fund from $5 billion to $10 billion at the Arizona TSMC factory. And some of the, the reasons we're talking even about this, because Donald Trump met with Tim Cook last week, widely expected that the discussions were around those 10% tariffs are going to be added to Chinese imports in addition to the 25% that were already on there, Brendo. And Apple did they did secure last time around in the first Trump presidency, Trump 1.0, they did secure an exemption to that, but they also had to spend at that time $350 billion.
So here it comes again, the spending side. Meanwhile, that's the daily chart of Apple. We're getting to a point. That's a negative looking candle at the top there. 47.50, 48, I guess 49. Almost got back to 250 there at the end of the week last week. But it's going to have to hold here if we're going to continue.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true. But the other thing that you can see, if you pull up a 15 instead of the daily, you look at where we closed on Friday, and there was all kinds of trouble at about 245 to 245 and a half. Resistance, Like even when it did break, you were accumulating that price level. I just feel like there's a lot of accumulation there. And then when you look at what happened specifically on Friday at that same price, it was tons of accumulation for several parts of the day. Like early in the morning, it just accumulated above and then accumulated at that 245.5. As long as you're underneath a zone like that, to me, I don't look for the strength there. I look for it in NVIDIA and Tesla, obviously. And well, maybe it's not obvious to everyone, but I think obviously today. And then we look at this as maybe a fade zone if we get up there. Although I feel like if the market pops up, the one I'm looking for, well, we're going to talk about a Palantir in a second. The one I'm looking for is AMD and then maybe some Palantir. But that zone, clearly 245.5 and then into 246. There's been a bit of a wall. Like it'll slow down every time it gets there on Apple last week. Just indicates to me that somebody's been a bit of a seller at that price.
I should have put Apple on the sticky note here, yeah, because that's an easy day sell as well. 245.50, good note right there. Anything up in here, that's a sell for Apple. The fact that the market's up and this thing's down, that's not a great sign. It could get going, but it's going to need a catalyst probably to pop through there. So, yeah, the 50-period moving average here at 245. I'm a seller of Apple. I mean, a long-term holder, long-term bull. I'm pretty much the only stock I'm going to trim a little bit if we do get going one more time probably would be Palantir again. But, yeah, I'm not selling any more stock. So, Apple, nice upside move there. Huge couple days. Let's wait to see if it can come back into this 230 area. That's a decent buy zone, again, for Apple. So I would say somewhere in and around there, probably. But yeah, downside move. Lack of catalyst, man. I mean, they released that new phone, the 16E. We'll see how that sells. I think that's going to sell a lot because of Apple AI, but they got to start announcing some AI innovations. So hopefully that will start to come through for them. But yeah, Apple, just look. I mean, it's down, right? There's the 50-period. Right here, there's a 200, so we're shorting underneath these guys. So right there, Apple for me is a short at 9:11 and 19 minutes to come. Market sells. It still has. It's open. Like came back in, bouncing off VWAP right now. So it's a nice little hold. I was going to say we have 20 minutes till the market goes. We have 10 or so minutes until these imbalances come out. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with Apple. But for me right now, there's just bigger fish to fry. I'm just going to go short Apple if we get an opportunity to in and around that 245.50. So there's a short idea that we have on our mind.
Coming back in here a little bit for Tesla, 1.8% still on the positive side of things. Got it back above that pivot from late Friday after a big time negative move. If you missed it this morning, it is officially the era of full self-driving for Tesla. It will begin in China. They're rolling out via software update in quote-unquote batches to vehicles in China. So that was that huge move this morning if you missed it in the pre-market.
I want to know more about this because we're waiting for confirmation from the Chinese government that they were going to be allowed to drop their full self-driving because they haven't yet, and that was for regulatory reasons. So I still haven't read anything about approval from the regulator there for Tesla, for FSD, so we'll keep tabs on that. But there's more headlines today for Tesla. They're refreshing their Model S and their Model X in 2025. That's a typo there. It should be 2025. They haven't refreshed it since basically 2021, so this will be very important for their two most expensive models, the S and the X, obviously. Separately, they're also hiring now for CyberCap production. So they posted multiple job listings for maintenance technicians, tools and die specialists, process engineers. All these roles are going to be in Austin. So we'll keep tabs on that. Just in case you guys are wondering, FS or their CyberCab, Brendo, their whole launch there is not going to be the actual CyberCab itself that we saw in October. It's going to be the Model 3 and the Model Y, and then we'll get to CyberCab.
And that note comes after, I think it was last week we were talking about or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the robots. He plans on making 10,000 robots a year coming up as well, so they're going to have to hire for that, they were saying too. So what a reversal if we can hold here, guys, so far for Tesla.
Yeah, wait till they're shoveling our driveways and just talking about these ridiculous icicles that I have like coming off the roof. Probably should knock those over. I saw multiple neighbors that were getting the snow off of their roof on the yesterday as well. So you get the robot doing that. I think it's just so many applications. Look, the FSD in China, that's a good catalyst. I think the bigger it's not a catalyst, but I think the bigger thing possibly for Tesla is just how much it's sold off recently. Like you pull back from the highs to that low was like a 30-something% pullback. Then you throw in what we had on Friday. Like you have a sizable gap to still maybe continue to go along with here on Tesla. So there's a lot to look at. I mean, jokingly, you can forget about the like 334 at the time when I sat down seemed like a little bit of a thing. But now I'm going to be looking at some of the afternoon highs. You know, like this, we faded off at like 342 on Tesla. I just want to be continuation for Tesla. So I think this gives us a bit of a level, and then VWAP down here at 339 because you can stick a fork in something like 334. That would have been the first place I looked when it started going, which is the prior low and where it was breaking out from. But got to look a little bit higher here on Tesla and be willing to join the move as opposed to get that like bottom barrel, hey, I got the low price. Because I feel like if you get that today, you don't want it. So we'll look VWAP, we'll look 42s for longs here on Tesla. And ooh, looks like we have ourselves a poll. Nike, is it dead? If you want to vote on this poll, here I'm going to say no. Because, well, I mean, at least not today, because I'm looking for long on it today. But if you want to vote on the poll, you have to be a subscriber because it's in the chat and it's a subs-only chat. So hit that subscribe, jump in, let us know if you think that Nike's dead. I'm pretty sure Tesla's not dead today, and I like them both for longs.
Look, get this right here, 650. So, all right, 7,300 of you watching. So right there, 650. Go down, hit the like button. We'll check this in a couple of minutes. Let's see if we can get this. Let's see if we can double it, right? 1,300. I feel like 1,300. Wait a minute, 600 times 2. 1,500. Double that, upside, see if we can get that going. So please hit the like, the subscribe. Over 7,000 of you. Absolutely free information here off the watch list. So make sure you go and check that out. I don't have Tesla written down on the sticky note today, but I do like it. It's obviously had that pretty epic move there on that release of the full self-drive news coming through for China. 50-period moving average is normally what we play back to, but obviously off the open for a name like Tesla that has dramatic moves off the open, that's for sure. I don't really want to play that right now. I feel like that's probably overdone a little bit. Not that I think the news is huge, and I think it's the next step. I just wonder about that kind of a bump. I could see it fade back, and if it does, then I'm sitting here at the 200-period moving average. So 337 or so for Tesla right now. Feel like that's a good area to start to, dip by some love here for TSLA. So if we can get something into that area, I think that's reasonable. I mean, just look, if you want to get more aggressive than that, then you're probably coming into a level right now, 342. There it was. We couldn't get through. Then whoosh. And I wasn't obviously here on Friday. We didn't need to be. This is all Friday. Here's the 50 period. It just never bothered it. And then obviously today, this morning, we crossed through. So if you play that cross right there, that's 336 to 337. So that's kind of where I'm thinking for potential dip buy into the space there for TSLA. So yeah, I'm a buyer down there in and around 344, 345. Does anybody like some fruit salad? Because we did have a new caterer right now, and it's pretty good, man. Green and red grapes.
Yes.
I'm more of a green grape guy.
I like the green, but
yeah, I like the green.
I like the variety. I'll take the variety in the fruit salad, but yeah.
I like the variety as well.
We're green in our fam.
970 you have now hit the like button. So let's get going a little bit more on that one. We'll take the 50% bump, but we're looking for 100. So only 13 minutes left now until we go. Is Nike dead? Of course not. All right. They just got that deal with Skims, right? So, all right. Well, Skims got the deal with Nike, I should say. The other way around. Yeah, seedless, of course, number one.
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
So, yeah. And then if you mash certain grapes with your feet, you get a magical juice that appears.
The elixir of the gods.
Exactly.
Palantir?
I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
Right, brought to you by our friends over at Foremost Energy. Unlock the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy, leveraging one of the biggest megatrends on the planet currently, nuclear energy. Partnered with Denison Mines with properties strategically located throughout the Athabasca Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on exploding nuclear markets and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear. Foremost is your entry on the NASDAQ under FMST, or here in Toronto on the CSE. FAT is the symbol. Check out Foremost Energy, foremostcleanenergy.com. Back to Thursday. I guess that is Thursday's low here right on the dot for Palantir right now. 4.25% as this sell-off continues. If you missed it, mid to end of last week, government comes out, says they're going to cut the defense spending budget. That kicked off the selling. We had some insider selling, meanwhile, for Palantir executives. Not much of a bounce yet.
Not yet. We'll have to wait and see if the bulls step back in. Yeah, so as you mentioned, Brendo, sold off aggressively last week, 4.6% on Friday, another 19% previous to that over the last few trading days, but it's still up 300% year to date. So it's a good look there. The past year, I should say, not year to date. Some of the reasons, as Brendo mentioned, we were selling off aggressively. The defense stocks got sold off aggressively last week as a Trump administration vis-a-vis the new Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth looking to cut about 8% of the Pentagon spending per year to the tune of about $500 billion or so. Widely speculated that may influence Palantir. There are other opinions on that, of course. Then CEO Alex Karp came out and said he's going to sell about $1.2 billion worth of shares, which is also weighing on investor sentiment, Brendo. But Daniel Ives, as he typically does, he's going to come in, take the bull case here. He sees it as an entire overreaction. He believes that the company's valuation of 180 times forward earnings is absolutely justified.
Fine. $100. Definitely a thing here for PLTR. But well, yeah, I mean, what a chart. Still, what a chart. John.
I mean, thanks, Brendo. Yeah, no, I think that, look, it's obviously what goes up must come down at some point. But down like an elevator, though, is the thing here with Palantir. It kind of took a little bit of stairs up there, but there did have some elevator moves both ways. So, yeah, just there's the Alex Karp news. There's it coming down. Then it couldn't catch it all last week. Couldn't really find bids, right? I mean, I was here about one day last week, and I tried to get the long in and around 104, 105, and then that was the day that this happened when it whooshed down to 101.50 or something right off the open and then made a way back up and then continued again. So I wrote down here, it is going to be on the sticky note for a long, but that's just because I just want to try it and then not be married to it. So down here at 95, you know, it has big moves off the open. Unless something's changed, that's generally what can happen with Palantir. Again, pretty choppy there, but when you look at this is still $2. Then there's the move down again, right? So that's actually not even that bad on Friday. Thursday, huge move down again, straight off the open, right? So we can find out some weakness here right away. In a couple minutes, we're going to get that imbalance. I just want to sit there and try this long down at 95. If it wants to hold it, then great. If not, then we're going to bounce out. So I like the trade. The low's only been 96 and change. I'm going to give it to a 95 handle. And I wrote down on here, let's not be stubborn. If it breaks it, then we're just going to get out. I'm not going to sit here and talk about PE. It's overbought, it's oversold, it's over this, it's over that. CrowdStrike, Tesla, Amazon, so many names. Like, we're buying Bitcoin with, gold. By the way,
GLD.
You guys want to talk about this? You guys want to talk about making calls on things? 4 weeks ago, I'd said right there on the market recap show, it's time to buy gold. And for the first time ever, we bought some gold. So, I mean, this has been something that we've been really proud about right here over the last little while of what gold's been doing. Now, we're not long down here. We're long somewhere here once we started to break through. We had bought some in and around here, and there it goes to the upside. I just used GLD. I didn't buy physical gold or anything like that, but this is working in the portfolio. Obviously, I'm not loaded into gold. I've never been a gold bug, but I'd said on the recap show, and those of you that were watching that, I'm actually making calls and taking trades. So that was one there that I was really happy with. Now we have the 50 period there. It's not a huge part of the portfolio. It's not even 1%. Like I was just buying it to see, and I wish I had bought it for reals. But right now, gold, nice little move to the upside. I'll probably just hold it, but at the end of the day, that's really moving as well. So you can get some hedge, right? I mean, we had sold some Palantir at 114, thought that was a good time to do that. And we did buy Tesla at, it was around 328 to 330. So that's been working out, that exchange. But yeah, Palantir, pretty tough week, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was rough for Palantir. There was the long on Thursday. There's no question about that. But then Friday was just a matter of, you had a couple of shots at some shorts on Friday in Palantir. I would have thought continuation could have taken us maybe through like, obviously it broke the 100 level pretty early, but even if you get a bounce off of that low, I'd probably look back. I'm looking back at the 100 to 101 as a bit of a fade. I feel like if we get up there, I'll probably be in short of AMD, and ideally that is popped as well. But back into 100, want to look for some shorts. When you look at that daily chart, however, it's just to keep a mind out there. The 50 period now also sits at a pretty large level, down around 85, 86. That looks like it's going to be a very good spot for a bounce play on Palantir. If it ends up in the 90s and holds the 90s, I think the next stop is bouncing off of that 86. That's not something for today. For today, I want to look at that fade 100 to 101. But in the next coming days and weeks, I think that's a buy on Palantir at 86 if you can get a print down there this week.
Was strong. I mean, it's still up on the morning, 1.3% here, back to 52.50 coming into play here this morning. Nice pop, though, on this SEC note if you missed it pre-market.
Yeah, it's nice to get that headwind out of the way, Brendo. Obviously, the old SEC had filed a Wells notice, and they were going after Robinhood for illegally selling securities, specifically these meme coins. So they've ended that investigation with no enforcement action against them. Robinhood did receive a letter, I believe, on Friday confirming the closure of the investigation. Coinbase got one, as we recall, a few days earlier above that. Before, just to give you an idea over here, the SEC back in May 2024 warned Robinhood that it might face charges for potential securities law violation within specifically its crypto unit. The closure of the SEC investigation is widely viewed, as a broader regulatory shift in the crypto industry after the new administration took place. Gary Gensler, who was a previous SEC chair, had been widely criticized with this regulation by enforcement tactic, basically not answering any of their questions, kind of duping them in, getting them to make statements, and then seemingly filing actions after that, widely criticized for doing that.
And it's amazing how fast all of those have just been pushed aside. Yep. 1.75, still not bad start here, guys, for Robinhood.
Kind of expected a little bit more, but after what we saw with Coinbase in a similar spot, it just didn't really follow through for when Coinbase had similar news here, and Bitcoin's not really doing much of anything. And yeah, it doesn't feel nearly as strong as I thought. I think Tesla looking a little bit more interesting, and Nvidia today. But I think you work off the lows here. 51 bottom on Friday, 51 big level on the daily as well. We had some support to resistance. If we lose $51, yeah. We just talked about it on Palantir's 50 period being a prior support level or big level. I think Robinhood's the same thing at 47. So if we lose 51, I don't think you fight this thing. It's a little bit of a gap in here to 47. I can't imagine. It'd be weird that we lose a bid like this on positive news to lose that low. But if it were to happen, I think you're looking longs this week at 47 here on Robinhood. There's a couple of names. I feel like we didn't talk about a few things. We still have a couple minutes in here to go. I just wanted to quickly mention SMCI. So SMCI, if you saw on Friday, it was the same thing as Thursday. If it gets to 60, someone's selling it at 62. On any strength, I think that's a fade, but it's starting to break down and do a bit of a flat bottom break here on SMCI. So first look would be fading the 50 in front of 56, looking for a gap fill. If it breaks out, respect the seller at 62. They've been there pretty much the back half of the week. It looks like we're not going to get there now. The stock falls.
All right, we talked about Robinhood, and look, I like it. Let's look similar to Palantir to me. What an awful week. Almost exact same week that Palantir had, where it got going early and just couldn't catch another bid, right? So Robinhood right there, looking to fall back in. I think it's worth the buy. Like, honestly, if you can get into the 50-period moving average, I feel this week is so important. We have big-time earnings coming through, and then we have PCE at the end of the week. Whoa. I'm excited to see what happens there for that one. Palantir's come way in, so we'll have to see if there is an balance there as well. Tesla went down $5. Yeah, so we're waiting to buy some Tesla down here in and around 337. So we'll wait to see if that comes through. Tesla with the sell side right now. Yeah, the whole market's coming in. Remember what I was saying? It was like, I don't want to start calling these longs because we were dealing with VWAP. And then all of a sudden, now we've dealt with it the wrong way. It's come back in a little bit here on those early sells. So Walmart also with the sell. People were liking the 95 level, so I'm sure even the gentleman to my right there maybe is buying some up. We talked about Walmart before, and I'm not in the name, and I was thinking about this would be also a decent level for Walmart, catching that there from their report last week. So some nice moves. And then a name that I put in the swing account that I didn't even check. We bought it on Thursday when we were here. I know it made a move down there on Friday. Big Bear AI. So we'll have to watch out for this name as well. Another name that I like that I will be buying more of in the swing account as we get going as well. So 9:29 in 35 seconds, we will get that opening bell. So there's a nice move down there for Tesla. My guy Alex, are you selling early or what? What's going on here? Nice move to the downside here for PLTR. I'm going to be buying 95 flats basically, and then breaking through that, we're gone. So if that off the open, especially if it wicks down through 95, we may catch the bottom wick. And if we do, we do. Like, not a huge position here to take too much risk right off the open on Palantir. But I do like that dip buy opportunity. All right, here we go, man. Thank you to Foremost Clean Energy to sponsor this opening bell. It's a little early, don't ring it yet. No, it's not ready to go. 3, 2, 1. We are now open. There we go. Thank you. Unless my clock was off there. There it is. Palantir with a nice early move to the downside right now for PLTR. We just got long at 95.15, guys.
Wow, and a little bit of a bid there on Tesla as it broke through VWAP. It might get that 334 after on Tesla.
You know, we're huge
also
already.
79 break on Nike imminent here on NKE.
$4 in the money. We are right now ripping. This is a huge day already. This is a huge day. Holy crap, I'm so glad we're back. What a day. Tesla right there, $2 in the money. We told you, we put it right there in the chat. We're here, we're him. Nice move to the downside for Tesla. $4 still going. You guys put in the chat, where is the level for Tesla? I said 337. We're long 337.50 right now, Neil. Double the day's expectation right now, early to go here, Neil. So I'm going to pass it over to you. We're well exposed here to this market. So far, so good.
So far, so good as well as Nike broke out. We got that one to the long slide. Palantir starting to come in a little bit heavier to the downside. Right, so watch out. You're also getting a breakout on NVIDIA as well. But whoops, that chart is still on Tesla. We just crossed 79.5 into 79.80 here on Nike. Trying to add to this one on the 79 level. 80 on the daily is a 200 period moving average on NKE. So Nike with a big strong move to the upside. Tesla starting to come back into VWAP as well. And as we said, Palantir fading down into 95. So there hasn't been a pop to be able to fade that one just yet. But so far, so good. And the market's coming to the downside, so to be able to catch some longs is looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, no. There was a fade for Palantir. Palantir went to $97 already today. I know you're probably looking for more near 100. If we can get anything near 100, we still have 40% of this trade, but we're going to hold it out. Neil, it's $4 in the money right now for Tesla. So there goes Tesla, man. This is going to be, again, for me, a monstrous trade. And we're just going to relax. So, yeah, okay, so this is the thing here. Shia mattress there, that little move is not worth the screaming. It depends. If you have shares, I'll trade the bigger account. So for me, those kind of moves are quite significant. So you just leave it at that, and we'll handle everything else from there. But I do appreciate the new watch as well. We're over $7 in the money in total, right? Neil's got Nike on right now, so again, just a little bit different styles, right? These trades that I'm in are very, very aggressive to the upside. So look at Palantir right now, $97, $2 in the money, and the reason why we get excited is exactly as it was written right there. So I've made my day already. I guess with one trade, we'll see what Neil's reaction is to his trade. But for right now, man, it's just a monster day. Glad to be back. Hope all you guys are so here for winning trades, because if you are, then that's what we're here for, right? I know that's not always the case, but that's what I'm putting up right now. There it is, man. Nice move for Palantir, but it's Tesla right now that's fading out. We only have about 20 to 25% of each of these positions. So Nike, Tesla, and Palantir, let's go.
Yeah, Palantir looks like it's going to continue to get to that 100 level. Tesla just came back in to VWAP there. So let me just get a stop. It's bouncing off of VWAP. Nike, if it doesn't hold 80, that's where the trail's going to be. We said the 200 period moving average was at 80 on Nike. So let's see if it can respect it. Prior support there on TSLA. It just wicked it, came back above. All right, filled at 339. So you're getting a consolidation level. That's a prior close. If we lose the bottom, we are jumping out of this. So we've got to make sure we have our stop out underneath. NVIDIA, as I know I just heard Sean say NVIDIA. NVIDIA, there wasn't any dip to be able to grab. You're not going to be able to get 134 or 135 at this point, but it is holding on to prior high. Like to see it hold that prior high and then start working off of VWAP for NVIDIA. So if you're not going to get that crazy dip at the open, then we got to be patient to try to join that long. AMD, well, you're not going to get a pop right now to short. AMD already red and down a couple of dollars. So not going to chase AMD down here. Just going to have to work with the longs because the stock I like short is gone to the downside.
All right. I mean, so like we had said that Palantir was worth the shot, right? At $95. So right now, we've hit our goals. It's 4 minutes in. So I've changed sort of the structure of what I'm trying to do here. And that is I'm trying to talk about trading, winning trades, bigger positions, and I mean, this is, after taking a week, coming back in here right now, sitting down, and now we're $6 in the money on 2 trades over there, Sharif. Okay. So this is what trading's all about: hitting your goals, hitting these winning trades, and then just making sense of trades. Because as we hear Neil talk about this as well all the time, if you can't replicate something, then it's not worth it, right? Which is why I'm trying every single day to put out that sticky note and show you guys, like, these are the trades I'm looking at and why we're looking at them. So just here for Tesla again, does this one have a chance to go? Yes. I mean, our best outs right here are 341 and change. So now that I look at the upside, you always have to look at downside too, which is why we're starting to get out, right? So even though you make your goals for the day, you could lose them. So right now in Palantir, for example, I have 8% left of this trade. Why? Because we have the damn bottom of the day. We have 95.08s right now, or 95.15s on Palantir. It's up to 99. So it took out 50, took out VWAP, took out 200. So like we're cruising right now here today. So far, so good. Big time action happening, and it's these 2 trades that are really carrying the day here. So so far so good on these plays. Let's see if we can continue higher. I believe I'm going to hold Palantir, especially now that if we can. I mean, I'm going to get out another piece right now. Let's just get out something here at 99s. Money. It's a $4 banger right here. So that right here is 4% in the money right now on this one trade that was one of our best ideas of the day. So far, so good. $6 in the money. All indices are red, but not the account. NASDAQ's not red, nor is ES. So just saw someone in the chat say that. But yeah.
NASDAQ just broke the low, though.
Yeah, it just broke the low, which is unbelievable. Our net is climbing right now. So far, so good there. As the net breaks lows, we go short. We go long right now. Maybe it is time to look for some shorts. We did like Apple.
I don't have any short ideas that are at any levels I like. But Apple did break out. So Apple, glad I wasn't short. Let's go over to Adara at the desk.
Just be aware here of FUBO. FUBO, certainly not a short here, pushing to the upside. FUBO, there were some antitrust-related issues being flagged by some senators last week with regards to his deal with Disney. But the real reason to keep an eye on FUBO this week is they report earnings on Friday. So Friday before the open, we will hear earnings from FUBO for the first time since their Disney deal was struck. It's also worth noting FUBO does have an 11% short float. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. So 80 over under on Nike. It failed to break out at that $80 level, so we jump out. Going to look for VWAP to retrace back in on an early look there for Nike. Still like the long. It's a continuation long as far as I'm concerned. You got it on the daily chart there, breaking out, but there's your resistance on the 200 period. And the reason, we say this all the time, if you're going to use a moving average, then make sure the stock respects the moving average. Nike respects the 200 period moving average on the daily. It's been rejecting it for the entirety of the year. So just want to respect that. If it breaks it out, I don't mind taking that long. But let's get the dip buy here in Nike off of VWAP. Just want to see it make a bit of a curl. Tesla is still kind of chilling. The market's not that strong. Like you're actually right down into overnight lows here on the ES, and NASDAQ doing about the same thing. So if we bounce off this, great. I think that anything that's working for a long, you want to look for some ads. But I got to start thinking about where I want to get short AMD. as it's pulling back into VWAP potentially. AMD turned red. There's obviously a lot of things that turn red with the market weak, but this is the one that we wanted to short in today. I just thought we'd get a pop, which has happened every single day last week. There was a pop and fade on AMD, except for this morning.
All right, let's just keep on looking. So let's stick with what we're doing. NVIDIA 135.50 long we had written down. So let's go have a quick look. I know it's way up there now, so we'll look at some more stocks right now. Okay, so we're into 5% left now of Palantir. All right, because we just got some out there at 97, and then we also got some out right there at VWAP at 97.40. So far, so good. I'll try another reload down there, but it's going to have to come right into me one more time. And if that happens, then we won't take that many shares, but we'll reload it just a little bit. We'll probably put on a quarter of what we had on that trade again for Palantir. And I'm talking like this is again, I feel like it's important because if we just sit here and we just say like, oh, we're long this stock, but like how much risk do we have in this stock? And I think that's something that's important for everybody. So when we reload certain names, I'm going to tell you like this was a big position right there, big one. Obviously we hit 2 times our daily goal on this one trade alone. So I'm only going to put on a quarter of that back. We only now have 5% left. So we'll put on in total of 30% again of that trade. And then if it breaks down, it breaks down. If it goes, it goes. And we will be able to hold pretty much all of it. So that's something that, I'm really trying to pride myself on is to work on better sort of risk management and not just give everything back when it comes in and maybe, slips up one more time, because that early move is really what I'm looking for. And we talked about that on Tesla and we talked about that on Palantir. I mean, so we're back in the building, and I hope the excitement's back, and I hope that we're ready to rock and roll, and all of you guys are too. So please, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Over 1.4K of you have done that. Over 11,000 watching, so thank you so much for all of that. We're back in the building, baby. We're kicking, and not only that, man, we're kicking the door open. We just gave you 2 of, I don't know if you'll find, for me, bigger bangers than those right now. I know Neil hit Tesla as well with me there. And then he had his own trade there with, we're all our own trades, but with Nike, the one that I hadn't looked at. So good job there over on that side. And then Apple right here. Let's just see what's going on with Apple. 248. So we knew this was going to be the fade play, but we also didn't think this was going to happen. We had said maybe in and around that 245.50 area. Would have been a decent short. It looks like that's where VWAP is, so maybe we can play off that right now. But I'm going to sit on the hands for a little bit here and try to look for some more opportunities. So there it is. Thank you so much, Sharat. Right here, my trades are the best. I hate it when you're not in the building. Likewise, my guy. Welcome back, boss man. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. I'm glad to be here and to give you guys the juice that you need, right? I mean, hopefully, again, you guys can ask us. Again, what we're up, what we're down as far as percentages or things like that. Try to get creative. But at the end of the day, the trades need to be yours. I'm just glad that Neil and I can sort of explain what we're doing and hopefully give you some ideas to trade yourself, because everybody around here trades completely different share sizes, completely different rules, risks, and everything. So find your own zone and your own spot. And we just want to thank everybody for watching, because at the end of the day, we're building community, right? I mean, and that's what it's all about. Many people watch football and have no idea how to play it, so you watch it for the rules. Hopefully we'll be able to, help guide you that way as well. So, let's keep it going with that. Shout out to Brett Favre.
Yeah, shout out to Brett Favre. That was I was glad you're able to make it for that one, man. Because it would have been.
Yeah.
The week would have been. It would have been a weird one to have had a chance to talk to, obviously, a Packer legend without Sean here at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I say Packer legend lately. No, and we'll get him back. No,
Palantir's breaking 95.
Just a couple of things. Look, the market's breaking down off the lows. Prior support on Tesla just turned into resistance. Remember, we liked that 342 level. So we lost that 342, dipped by, it just curled off that same level. A couple of rejections off of Tesla here at 342. Well, I like the dip by at prior close. So we'll go into that if it can make a little bit of a bounce here, but it's starting to look like, why am I not short anything? And I don't have a good reason except for the fact I didn't get AMD. So Tesla worked. Nike didn't give us back into VWAP, but got to start looking for another opportunity short. Haven't been able to get VWAP on AMD yet. And SMCI was the other name. that we're looking for a fade, and suddenly that's actually a little bit strong. Like it's trying to creep above VWAP. So I think I have to be patient with SMCI, maybe get into some resistance here at 56.5. It's that or AMD that I want to the south side. Adara?
Just be wary of ATCH. This is a small cap runner. They were actually featured on the watch list this morning. They did have earnings this morning. Basically, they did actually have a decrease in a year-over-year basis for their earnings per share, but I guess well-received report here, worth noting the 9% short float. Also worth noting here, everyone, thank you so much for being here, and make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Check us out every single day. The markets are open. Back to the guys.
Just the supply zone on Rivian at like 13.25 on Friday. Like it was all morning. It was a short. Today there was no chance at it. This is very much like AMD. Well, in the market too. It just sort of rugged it. You've now broken $12 and flat bottom break potentially on Rivian here. Look, maybe you get a pop in the VWAP and we get some kind of a play back in there on that bad boy. But yeah, not looking very good for Rivian. Down 7% and still heading lower, unfortunately. Not looking good.
Yeah, Rivian was the only short idea that we had today on the sticky notes, so we'll go bang, 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 bang for that one. But you got to take it first for that one as well. So, by the way, Palantir break. So we did give back about 15 or so percent on that play right there. But look at this. This is the wins, right? $4 to the maximum, and this is the loss, for 30 cents. So we get out a great price there as it breaks below 95. And then actually I can tell you the price we got. Actually, we got 94.60s. So we were waiting for 94.75 to break. But it broke. It was immediate. The minute it broke 95, it just flushed. So obviously good trade to get out. Glad to do that. Palantir will be P&L number one by far so far today. The Tesla trade that I'm holding, if I were to get out right now, it would overtake the Palantir trade. But I'm going to wait for Radiator 342 to come in right there as well. So my number one trade idea was NVIDIA long. We probably should have looked at that again on that VWAP dip buy into 137. So big miss there for NVIDIA. We were waiting lower. We were waiting at 136 where the 200 period is, but missed opportunity there for NVIDIA as we're starting to break higher right now on NVIDIA. I think it's probably worth that long. There goes Tesla, man. Neil, I don't know how many times it was hit last week. I hope a lot. But 1, 2, 3, 4 plus dollars right now. We were just 5, and we took it out there on Tesla at 342. So the money's coming back in right now. But yeah, the Qs. Probably a good trade there from John mentioning there to try to pick up that bottom. So we could definitely do some of that right now. But yeah, we'll go 2 for 2, just sitting here waiting. And I'm just glad that we had used a little bit of an upsized position there to make the money early, because right now it's trying to battle back. Just not so sure about what levels to trust here, as it's only 9:46. Actually, it gets us a little later than I thought. Right
yeah, we're
now.
15 minutes in.
Yeah, we're okay. Yeah, so this is okay. NVIDIA having a problem here at 138, but I do like the pullback into 137. So I'm gonna try to dip by this into 137, maybe giving it to like this local bottom 136.50. I think that's worth it.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this AMD short, just try to get into something to the south side. We're starting to pull, maybe get back into a VWAP dip as well on Nike. So there's AMD just underneath VWAP. Here's Nike, actually well above the 80 level, looking to buy about 79.5 where VWAP is going to sit. That's on a 3-minute chart, and we started about 6 o'clock in the morning, our data. So a lot of times it's like, hey, Neil, your VWAP is wrong. Well, if my VWAP's wrong, you probably have a different start time on your chart, which is fine. Tesla's starting to pull right back into that support level that we liked from before.
Yeah,
so if we can grab that back in here to 3 off of this low, 337.5 prior close. Need to hold on to that, and we can try to go into a long opportunity. Oh, there's a couple of halts in here, and I know some people have asked about this. RETO, don't really know the company, but I can tell you they're halted at 110. This is the 4th halt of the morning so far, so just watch out. A bit of a halt fest on this Reto, whatever they happen to be. Hasn't been able to open for more than a couple of minutes, but obvious breakout level if it can take about $1.25 on that. So looking at this Tesla
for a while.
What the? Oh wow,
Fabian.
Palantir could go. All right, Palantir could go SSR. Just I didn't realize it was almost down 10%. Palantir goes down 10%. We're going to look for an SSR bounce.
Yes.
And a mean reversion here on Palantir. That could come pretty quickly. That'll be about $91. If it gets down to 91, look for an SSR bounce on Palantir.
I mean, we're doing it again. We'll go 3 for 3 today. There goes NVIDIA. I mean, we just took it at 138. I'm like, traders got to trade. And I mean, there it goes again, right? So whatever. Let's see if it goes higher now. We're getting out of a little bit of this. Obviously, I don't want to play against the market too much. So we got out right there of 20% at 50s. There's another 10% right here at 40s. So it's not going to be a huge trade. It's just a topper. So we'll wait to see. Look at those outs. You know, like these are the things, man. I'm going to get out of this if it breaks 335 on Tesla. But I've already explained this a couple times. We have 5% left of Tesla right now. NVIDIA, again, like, I know Neil's looking for that short there on AMD.
Not NVIDIA, but
No, on AMD there. So, that could definitely be a play. Okay, here comes NVIDIA coming in again. So remember where we're trying to bid, right? We're trying to bid a little bit lower on this name, in and around 137. All right, we did get a little bit more shares here. There goes Tesla right into that bottom of the day again. Our offer is at breaking through 335. So this one's going to have to go about $1 and change against us right now. But here it is. It's a reloaded position for you on Tesla. Let's see if this one wants to work out for us. But again, market needs to go first. But right now, the market's going the oppo to the downside right now. Big trade alert happening, I guess, on Tesla as we just take Neil. Guess what? Another $1.
Yeah, this nice little bounce around Tesla. I broke down under support level, so I'm not taking it. We're about to get AMD at the quarter level. We just got in underneath prior day's low. So the first time we're breaking lows on the NASDAQ. The other thing that's starting to come in there is, remember, $91 would be approximately SSR on Palantir, not to the penny. It'll be like 91 a quarter or something like that. So it gets another $1 to the downside. Going to start looking reversion on Palantir. Finally short in AMD. There's the trend. It speaks for itself. Underneath prior low. Going to give it to about 150. Sorry, 110.50, I should say. We get to the low and break 110 again. Going to start taking profit on that bad boy. SMCI, not really looking like it's going to be the setup for the short trade that we want, unfortunately. And Nike, we're trying to get back on the bid here, 79.5. That's also going to be VWAP up 5.5%. It's doing it just fine. With the market at lows, it's maintaining its strength very, very nicely here. And yeah, Palantir, I just feel like that's going to happen next. So, we're into the AMD short. But Palantir is now cruising. It just broke 93. Going to look for that mean reversion trade on Palantir. We've seen this before. You want to get it when it breaks trend. If it doesn't get to 10%, okay, I probably don't like it as much, but I still want to take the first mean reversion we get here on Palantir.
Okay, so yeah, market coming back in a little bit here. Yeah, let's maybe sit on our hands a little bit. So we have our positions. I don't have any more bids out. Right, I guess I actually got to make sure I don't have too many more bids out. Anyways, we do have some bids lower on NVIDIA, but those are much lower in case those can come in, through here. If we lose this 136.75 area, I'm going to get out at 75% of this position for sure. So, okay, so some of these trades have come back a little bit. So we got some out there on Tesla as it went back up through 337, but then there's the break again. So look at this market if you come down. The fact that we've had 2 longs and they've been working has been incredible, or 3 longs. So we're kind of just waiting to see now if this market will hold. If we're going to look at a broader market, we had that huge sell-off, right? And it kind of came right into a little bit of support. But if you go to the downside here, the Qs really have this 522. So you could be down another 2 or 3 points here on the Qs before we even think about bouncing at this point. So give it a second. It didn't hold the day's bottom. It's not really holding anything right now as the market be getting a little bit weaker. So, all right, NVIDIA. Okay, well, here it comes back in. So we talked about the 200 period or so and that we would sit on and not just like exit out of everything completely. But right now it does look like, downside move into 136. We had written down here on NVIDIA 135.50. So we're getting close to that area where we're thinking about dip buying much serious position. But again, I don't know. The market's just barely red. Like, we could really get to a tanking spot here. 135.50. Let's wait and see if we can be patient for NVIDIA. But then great short there, I hope, for you out there on AMD. So, yeah. And then Palantir, you mentioned 90.91. Yeah. There it goes.
Any second now.
So the sell programs are here. Look at this. 4 or 5 straight to the downside there, Neil.
Yeah, this could be that spot. Like Palantir is now 9.7. It hasn't ticked past SSR just yet, but clearly it's falling like a rock here. The Nasdaq's not down that much. It's just more the fact that we look like we're in a recovery phase. Monday morning, early sell-offs, I find to give some of the best bounce backs, specifically on Mondays. But sometimes it's like at 9:30 in the morning. This is a little bit later on in the session. So there hasn't been any kind of a green or up candle here on Palantir. It just ticked it. If we close this bar above the trend line, I'm taking the long. I'll quickly show you guys. AMD. Oh, this V. Oh, anyways, just ignore VWAP. I'm missing some data on that chart. So AMD broke 110. We got some out in front of 119.5. I'll have to close and restart that chart again. But Palantir, to me, is the next trade. Now, if it closes this prior bar breaking the trend, I'm punching long. The stop is at the prior low. Like, there's no holding on to it past the bottom, but it's got to hold above the trend line, which hasn't even happened yet. Let's go take care of some business. The market's taking care of some to the downside.
It sure is. Each year, over 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Oragenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach, $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Make sure you scan that QR code right there on your screen to learn more about Oragenics and the concussion protocols. But again, we had Brett on last week to talk all about that, and we've seen sort of the effects that some of this new medicine can have, and hopefully in the right ways. And as we look for,
it was a nasty one to a Dodger pitcher.
As we look for some more,
some young Dodgers pitcher took a 106 liner off the head, and they don't wear helmet. You're not wearing a helmet on the.
No, I know. Baseball is actually more dangerous than hockey.
There was a guy I played with in my men's league.
Yeah,
a really good dude. He took one off the dome, and he had. It was very. It was like life threatening.
That's the big worry that I have.
Switch to wood bats after that because we're using, which you should.
Crazy.
Grown men should not be hitting with aluminum bats. It was never safe to begin with, but thankfully he's fine. But so a bit of a turn. It's weird because Palantir's turning here. I just might have missed it, but the market's still heading into the downside pretty precipitously. But it's closing above, and it just held 91.50. So I have my stop underneath 91.5, looking for the long. Randy. Rivian, what in the blue blazes?
This is perfect for you guys.
Well, we you guys.
I thought you wanted to buy dips as well.
10. It's at 12 right now, but I'm saying $10 is the only level to buy it. But I by the way, you weren't here. I said if it loses 12, I'm selling the rest of it. So I know I've been trailed out of this. Probably it should be. Well, whatever. I'll check at lunch. I should be trailed out of this, and if it gets back to 10, I'll pick it back up at 10. But the biggest mistake was the first time not selling when it got into the teens. Next time I did sell some in the teens, and I've sold the rest of Rivian. And if it gets to 10, I'd buy it back again. But not a great look for Rivian. Wait for 10 though.
Yeah, so NVIDIA goes right down to the exact bottom, pretty much that we wrote down, 135.50. It went to 135.43 there, or so was the bottom right there for NVIDIA. But that might not. I didn't get any out. It went right back up to 136. That's my average price. So I'm willing to take this $1 the other. Like if we lose $1 on this, I'm pretty comfortable doing that. I mean, and we'll work on it at that point. But here it is right now at a level that I like. So we bought some shares down there, but it's relentlessly selling. The market is starting to come way in. So, I mean, the market, someone just put what a cooked market. Yeah, I mean.
Bitcoin's under 95.
We just made all-time highs on Thursday. Was it Thursday or Wednesday? And then all of a sudden, boom, right? So it just takes a couple bad, like, not apples or anything like that, but it's just like today, you do get these downside moves, and it's part of it. Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't want to say, like, it's not an Apple story because
Apple's literally at the high of the day.
Apple's ripping.
There's no bad apples in this market because Apple is once again at the highs.
They're selling NVIDIA. I mean, they're selling NVIDIA ahead of earnings, so it's kind of doing like Apple what I thought would happen right now. So we're going to get out if this breaks through 135. That was our level. We talked about, here it goes. So we're going to be out. There we go. We're out. So we talked about that as being a level there. The sell pressure just continues. So I'll probably take 135.50 break upside again, and then that would be be it for me on that one. We might have just got rinsed out there at 135, but I'm happy to do that on NVIDIA. So we will have the red stock today with NVIDIA right there because just kept on falling down. We tried it. Probably should have flipped over the short. Great call there on AMD. But yeah, there comes NVIDIA. I'm going to try 135.50 break again, and then that would be it. But it looks like it's trying to battle with some demons down here in and around 135. So this is why it's that hit it and quit it moment, right? We talked about that.
Speaking of,
yeah, go ahead.
AMD's support is at the 109 level. So this is the target for me in here. Just come to my 15-minute chart for a quick little second. There we go. There's 109 a couple of times a couple of weeks ago. So flat bottom break here on AMD into here, and then play the next available bounce. This market's really flushing. I can't believe Apple's holding up this well. But try to remember, Apple did this last week, and eventually Apple did this Friday.
Oh, yeah?
And then it looked so strong, and then when it finally reverted, it was pretty good, and it was right up here at 249-ish. But a rocket ship so far on Apple, sitting here like did it last week. We literally did it on Friday, where it failed just about $1 higher from here. If this market keeps dropping, I don't think Apple's going to hold it up forever. So my trail is going to be in just above the 109 on AMD, and Apple, if it breaks trend, just because of what happened on Friday, if it breaks trend, I'm going to look for a reversion on Apple here. Let's go to Adara at the desk for happening now. At least I think so. Yes.
It's been quite the morning so far today. We have this headline here from our friends at Bidziga from earlier today. Wall Street looking to bounce back. And then we gave up pretty much all of that bounce here, more than all of that bounce. We have the S&P 500 near day's lows. NASDAQ here also near day's lows. Not everything is sharply to the downside. There are some positive spots. And it's worth noting some smaller names here like B. Riley with a 55% short float popping up right now here as well. So not all hope is lost, but a lot of these larger names struggling. Microsoft actually trying to break a new day's low. MSFT here was plagued by quite a few worries here that were circulated in social media, initially stemming from TD Cowen analysts saying that there's a sign they've cut back here in some of their data center growth. Then we have PLTR trying to bounce a little bit here, but much like Microsoft and a lot of these tickers, near low of day as well here. Palantir still dealing with the impacts of reports that there's going to be a bit of a spending cutback with regards to the Pentagon. We know that they rely very heavily on military spending. So PLTR and MSFT, just a couple of the names on watch here. Robinhood on watch as well. HOOD did pop this morning after announcing that they are basically ending their SEC case. They're not going to be seeking any or having any charges sought against them by the SEC. So keep an eye on these tickers and make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to you.
I mean, thank you, Adara, for all of that. Like Tesla is like 327 right now. So I know this has been a pick. This has been a top pick this year for Brendan, a top pick for my guy Joe over there this year, and Tesla's really been getting smoked. So I don't, like whether or not we hold this 320. Like I told you guys, we bought recently at around this level, and we also had sold some Palantir to do that. So we're fine with that. But like, wow, Tesla really getting hit to the downside right now. All the political stuff, man, it's not great. Hitting the name for sure there for Tesla. We're trying to be patient, trying to load into some other shorts. I'm going to reload my e-signal thing here. I wonder if it's, I'm not getting too many scans coming through right now. So I think it's just because many
what's at the top of the list right now?
Yeah.
Soxel.
Oh, well, yeah. NVIDIA's down to 134.
Yeah, so when I say what's the top of the list, the hot, like a trade rate list here at eSignal. So it's not percentage down or anything like that. It's just, you got Soxel, you got the SPY. Robinhood we didn't even talk about. You got iBit, I don't want to say bleeding. There was a thing on Friday where we'll leave the whole bleeding and tanking for the bigger moves, but you're having a strong down move in Bitcoin as well. So some weakness coming into there. Apple, as we said, was strong. But even on the way up, getting out made sense on Tesla, but then sometimes you get out at target and then the stock goes even lower. So AMD's not bouncing off 109. You're still falling here. So we've had 3 positions, 2 long, 1 short. They've all worked, but this could be like a Friday situation where I'm getting feels of Friday where we had Palantir and then we gave up Palantir a little bit too early on the short, and I just have to wait for that chart to load. Oh, the other thing that's happening, SMCI just broke $52. and continue to go lower. So I thought we'd get some kind of a pop on SMCI before they report theoretically tomorrow. It's just not happening. So we're out of our 2 longs. Thankfully, both worked in our 1 short, but starting to look for that next opportunity wherever it happens to be. And there just isn't a heck of a lot of strength in this market. I think Apple on a reversion might be the next play for me because it's at Friday's top. So Friday's high right now with the market breaking lows. And what I mean by reversion is just a break of the trend. So we break this trend, go short, stop into the high on Apple. I'm just essentially just connecting the higher lows for a trend line. If we break that trend line, look for the short, stop goes in at the high.
I mean, what are we even doing here? Oopsies. I want to go into the zoom mode here and just to see like what this, oh, I'm on the wrong screen here for you. I just zoomed into this Tesla just to see that bottom right there is the daily 325. So that comes back in on whatever day this was, Feb 11th. So you are getting really close to this Tesla breaking the bottom right now. And I think that that would be something definitely that I want to look at here if I can. Wow, 320. Oh, sorry, I'm not even on the stock. There it is right there, 325 Tesla coming in. I think it's worth a little bit of a break. So I'm gonna try it there. I don't know how far to cross down on this trade. I'm going to give it only 25, 30 cents crossing into that move down. Like I want to get short something. Obviously, it's going to be a little late to do that on some of these plays. Thank you. So we'll wait to see if that can hold. So right now it is holding. NVIDIA down to 133. I mean, get the heck out of the way there. Like, glad that we haven't fought any of these plays that we like. The only short that we did like initially was Rivian.
Somebody just...
What?
Somebody just tried to hold the bid at the low of the day on Palantir for like $250,000. I think that's what I saw. And they just chewed right through them. Like, they just posted the whole lot right at the low of the day and just said, give it to me. And they got everything they wanted almost in one shot. So Palantir is not reverting just yet, but it is SSR. And if that bid had held, I was probably going to punch long. But now that you're breaking the lows, you're still not breaking the trend here on Palantir, but it's SSR, and that means I'm looking for the bounce. It just has to show you some kind of a reason to get into the long trade. So it's either reversion there or reversion on Apple, which hasn't happened yet. Like, it's attempting to break the trend line, but it's strong enough that I don't think you want just any entry short into Apple. It has to really break this trend line. And now I can hit save on it. Looks like we've closed now beneath the trend line, and we can try to get into Apple in here at 247.5. Give it to the prior bar high, which is about 248.
Man, everything is, I'm still trying to, like, I'm trying to find something that potentially, you know, is at some decent levels here. I mean, here's the trade rate for us right now. Oh, Robinhood down nicely, 6%. So this name just continues to get flushed as well. Nice move downside there for Robinhood today. Wow, MLGO down 30% as well. Micro Algo.
Story there.
I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute.
Getting,
that was...
yeah. Okay, there it is. So now we are into Tesla. So, all right, well, what price did we get is the question. 75. So we get the price that we actually crossed down into. So, that's never great. I mean, I'd rather have, I told you we were only crossing 75s. So, all right. Again, we don't want to play too many breakouts with huge amount of shares or anything because we had played that before and you do get sometimes that bounce back up to the upside. I did think it was worth getting into a little bit here on that. But the problem is like where on any kind of a bounce, how much of that bounce can we trust? Well, these tops right there have been 36.60. So 37s, I think, is maybe where we'd have to stop out of this trade if it does get away from us. So, yeah, we'll wait on it. But here it comes to the downside. We'll get some more short in and around 326 if we can. So far, so good here for this play on Tesla. We're in the short now, new position. It's holding 325 real good. So I'm going to put a bid at 324, like 15, see if we can get up something down there. But yeah, so far we are short to the downside.
Yeah, the market's now 1% down on the NASDAQ, just hit. ES just tagged 0.5% to the downside. Like everything is more or less flushing at this point. I think we can use that term because NVIDIA just went 1.6. Palantir still has yet to make a curl, but it's accelerating and trying to hold this 90.
Now the market goes.
It's gone up and down 90 3 times here on Palantir. I think this could be the level that's starting to hold. So if we can close above 90, close this above 90, I'm going to look for that long. We are in the reversion on Apple. That breaks 48. It's a relatively strong stock. So if we break back above the prior bar high on that trend line, then I'm just going to get out of there. It's only about 30 cents worth of risk. Give it some slippage above that even dollar. But if you're going to take a first hit, then it's going to be a tight one because we're short a strong stock.
Right.
And that's just got to be able to respect it. AMD, I would like to get back in AMD, but I'm going to be very, very patient about where I short this thing after getting trailed out of it. Continue to go lower, now down 2% here on AMD. SMCI, I just saw TX Trader, SMCI bouncing off 50 clean. That's what I'm looking for on Palantir, although Apple just came out, but I got to worry about getting into Palantir. It just closed above that 90. Now we'll look for the bounce on PLTR, maybe back through 91 even.
Okay, so, I mean, Tesla, I have to slap a fail. You know, we went long the first time it worked, then it broke, then we just went short. So we got out, so I'm trying to rebuild another position here. That's a huge bump up in the market. Like, I don't really see what's going on right there, but it is starting to go back up to the upside. So we're going to have to try to respect that. I'm just going to try to wait to this 330, 331 area. That's 331.25. So we'll sit here. ATCH, up 300%.
That's halted twice.
Right now, yeah, just reopened. So there it goes, $10 right now for, what is this stock? ATCH? It's not Archer, is it? Oh no, it's that Atlas Clear Holdings right now, breaking through 10. So
Atlas didn't shrug there.
Yeah, probably something up with that name. We'll definitely check it out over there right now. So nice move upside
No one knows that
for Atlas.
I think it was
earnings.
Oh, apparently it was earnings. Well, the other thing on that ATCH.
It was.
Shoot, I had it up there a second ago. Where is it? It's only a 23 million float on ATCH, so relatively small float on ATCH. Apple just broke the high of the day, so we'll slap the L on that one. It's the first time we took an L today, and it was short of strong stock. Had to give it a tight stop. Palantir, so there's the, can I zoom in? Yeah, I can. Hopefully, does that look any better? Yeah. Bottoming tail wick through 90.5 was the prior low. So there's your wick through 90. It just held the prior low. Actually got in and instantly, I don't know, I think I must have keystroked it because I instantly got out of half like a fool and then tried to jump back in at the same price. Didn't get it. We'll see if we can push into 93. Otherwise, it holds 90.5, and we're looking for just some kind of a reversion trade here in Palantir. As the market's trying to bottom, I think you got to start looking for some obvious longs. SMCI is too far gone at this point. Like SMCI is already back at VWAP, so then you can kind of stick a fork in that. Hopefully Palantir can do something resembling this, but you pick the one that you want. And SMCI, I wasn't really expecting it to be that big of a move back into the upside. If Palantir does half of that, we'd be happy with it. Apple looking very strong. We'll go over to that one for you guys. As we did take out that 48, short under trend, break of the prior bar close at 248, and we'll just have to work on this one to the upside. You know, at this point, I feel as if the longs that we like, not even getting back into Nike, that can't even sniff VWAP, that's still going stronger. Palantir is more of like a gimmick trade at that SSR, and then going back over to Tesla, that was another one that we want to take longs in. This one would have been a nice mean reversion. But if you had 325 on your bingo card this morning, then more power to you. I can tell you there's no chance that I had that. So I wasn't even looking at these levels. Just Palantir and SSR, and we'll see what trade is going to come in next here for us. Maybe a reload in AMD if the market's strong enough.
Yeah, hopefully a tank in Tesla happens here because we are short right now some Tesla into that 331. So we went short down here. We just thought they could continue. I mean, I thought it was worth it. I mean, at the end of the day, we wanted taking that $2 hit on that. You know, we've spun earlier winners on it, but we'll obviously turn red here on Tesla. It's going to be this position pending, and I'm trying to use this 331.25 or so area to go right there. So that's a very, very interesting spot here to look at for TSLA for sure. NVIDIA's made its way all the way back up, man. I mean, again, talk about like trying to find good names at good levels. Like that's a good one there. Like you mentioned, they're trying to find that Palantir bottom as well. But right there, 130s coming into play, 132 or change there for NVDA, possible bottom spot there. You're already on Palantir. And then now we don't want to break through 330. But if this market does try to come, when we looked at the cues, we actually, and again, those of you guys that were in the chat there, we had talked about, where that next sort of level was. We did whoosh down into 520. We said maybe that 522 was the next spot. So right now you're up about $1 from that, and you also went down about $1 from there. So now you're trying to play with that 522 level on the cues and see if there's anything with that one. But for right now, we're kind of like dead in the water here. If this breaks up too much more on us here for Tesla, then yeah, we're going to have to stop out because this name really strong, caught a bid there off the bottom of 325. So we sit here to take risk. We talk about that, and there it goes. We are at 75% as that continues to go back up to the upside. So yeah, Tesla not really working out there. And there goes NVIDIA, man. Wow, I was saying I was going to take 135.50 long again. Wow, should have just gone long down at that bottom. All right. So here's Tesla. I think we just wait on it. The market's making its way to VWAP. Maybe we just wait to see if that's going to be it. But Nike, someone just said, look at that. Is that ripping, I guess?
It's ripping, but 6,000 on the ES just held. So I think maybe this could be one of those types of moves. If we close, here, let's just full screen this because you guys can't see that properly. You could essentially put a bottoming tail candle on the ES, breaking that 6,000 level, and then going right back on a 15 and closing above the prior bar low. That's a heck of a potential bullish reversal. So longs into VWAP, I think, make a lot of sense. If you can hold on to this bottom, it's like 6,015 on the ES, or if you're looking at the NASDAQ, it's like 21.56, something along those lines. I think you look pretty strong. That said, I'm putting Palantir into a different category. It just tried to get to 93. At this point, trend in, trend out. So if either it breaks 93 and gives us VWAP, or if it loses the trend, which would be right now it's under 92, then I'm going to jam out of Palantir. Look for some reversions as well on stocks that I think are strong. Because if we do that bounce that we were just talking about on the futures, I think you're going to have some opportunities at longs. And I'd rather be going into a strong stock. So as much as this was the losing trade for me on Apple, and then it eventually wicks the high and goes back in, I think I'd look for a long play here on Apple. If the market's going to hold this low, Apple above VWAP makes a heck of a lot of sense. I mean, you're out and about above the 50 period on the daily. The reversion trade is it's a setup, but it is not the trend. It's the opposite of the trend, and Apple's trend is to the upside. So if we're reverting on the futures, Apple long off VWAP kind of seems like a no-brainer to try a test in. Tesla's pretty much far gone. Oh, and that MLGO, everybody, micro algo, yeah, load. Halted to the upside now, but still down 30%. Be careful with this. It hasn't been holding open for very long. A lot of times if you can have like a consolidation, meaning it actually goes more than 10 minutes without a halt, that's a good level to trade off of. So I'm just be patient before looking at this small capper, but it's now halted to the upside. Tap is 446, which is effectively flat.
Yeah, so a couple of holders. They're joining the midday show, of course. Joe's back, so that's really great. We're happy to have a full complement today. All right, so shout out to Joe who's back. All right, so NVIDIA didn't quite get to the shorting area there of that 136 if you were thinking the market was going to turn around just a little bit. Not right now, apparently, on NVIDIA. So we'll see. That might have been the top at 135. We'll see if it wants to give out a little bit on that one. The full self-drive seems to be working out for Teslas. That's back to 332 right now. I don't really want to short this name, so I know that you have that good long right now on Palantir, and then maybe AMD.
I literally trailed out the second you said the word Palantir.
Yeah, good. Okay, that's good though. All right, so
what are the odds?
AMD underneath though, coming into VWAP again, still down that 1 point something. Probably better to short some weaker names, right, than going after a strong name again like a Tesla. That high wick there though got to 109.70. Feel like that's probably reasonable. Let's start something now on AMD and see if we can get into it. Well, we're into it now, but really into that 110. I mean, that's going to be good. You got a lot of support there. plus the market trying to finally potentially come back in. Let's put on a little something there now. Give it up to that 110, but if we can get something even more, that would be fine. We'll push it a little bit more now. 109. I was looking at the level 109.80, I guess. 10. Yeah, I mean, somewhere to feel like we really want to put something on, but here we go. We got a position now, so if this can work out, great. But even if it goes down, right? I mean, how far? I think this 108.50 would be a good little level there. Forget about that sort of flush junk down there, but at the end of the day, yeah, there it goes right now for that. Palantir is still going to be P&L number one today, just because of that. We've given it back on Tesla there. We are going to be in AMD. We'll see where that works out. But yeah, Tesla, not good. Palantir, great, as that's holding the day right there. And NVIDIA's been fine, just lost it right there. And then there's that 135.50 level that we wrote down as a long. It looks like it was the exact top there for that play. All right, so AMD dancing, it's the only short that I have right now. Oh, no, yeah, I'll throw it back to Neil in a second. Big Bear, someone just asked about, what's up, Charlie? So it's down, okay, so I should be buying some more, actually. So we bought Rigetti at the 50 period moving average, and that worked out huge. And you could see Big Bear actually worked out for that pretty good all the way back into the fall. So that could be something if you really thought, but why not start it right now? All right, man, right there, the P&L number two for you on the day is now AMD, and we just put that trade on. So let's get something out here on the downside and then see if we can hold the rest into that 105.50 area for Palantir. There it is right there. So you just got to sort of stick with what you're doing and trade the short names into a market that looks like this.
Yeah, and
Tesla.
also make sure you get out of the long.
And now
when you have
Tesla
the
does
chance.
that?
Because as quick as you do, what goes up must come down all morning long here. Palantir, as I said, the second, like Sean was talking about Palantir, I trailed out of Palantir, trend in, trend out.
Why did it do
I think it's going to be that kind of a morning where if you get a reversion trade, make sure you take your profit. The second it broke that very slight upward trend from 91.5, we got out at like 92. Obviously, the trend line moves, like the longer it goes up, your trailing stop gets a little bit higher. So instead of 92 even, it was like 92.25. So we're in and out of Palantir. Nike's breaking the high of the day, so there's no chance to get back into that one yet. But this is sort of the other thing. Like when I'm getting in, trend out, not getting a reload at 79, not coming into VWAP is Nike at all. But it's now up 6%, and it's about one of the only things that is in a small capper that's actually running to the upside. So if you're looking for a long, it's probably this. Here on Nike. It's just a matter of we're able to join it again. Only Apple has been bad for me, and that's because I went against the trend and the grain. Let's see what other small cappers might be moving with Adara and the small cap recap.
We're going to start off here. IWM, this is the 15-minute chart, down about 70% right now is the Russell 0.7%, not 70%. 0.7% to the downside here for the IWM, the Russell 2000, continuing to make lower highs from last week. ATCH, that's Atlas Clear. They're certainly going to be on watch here. Ash Sharif mentioned they are an earnings play with about a 9.5% short float. They did actually have a year-over-year decrease in their earnings per share, but I guess their sales were well received. Also, the short float, probably a great look as well for ATCH. RILY also on watch, a bit of a larger cap name, but in case you missed it, they reported their earnings for Q3 pretty late, but with an hour left until their delisting deadline. That was Friday, right before the close there. Now, today, they've announced that they're actually going to be reporting their Q4 earnings on March 3rd. Market liking that pretty well. They're up quite significantly. And also with B. Riley, we have a pretty significant short float, about 55%. Last but not least, NVNI. This is a Brazilian company here. This company is going to be on watch. They rallied in the past with about a 5% short float, but no news today. Back to you.
It's, you won't in talking about picking something perfect, pretty much, that 332 level was huge. And then I just go back to it. We'd be up on Tesla if we had just held that, but we got stopped out there at 332. What can you do? Breaks that level and goes down to that downside. Adara is still live, by the way. So here we go. All right, so just honestly, nailed the level. I hope you guys have it there on Tesla. Just stopped out right there on the biggest position, notionally probably 100x that you've seen on the show today, at least probably, the position that I had on there right there. So that is what it is, but stopped out there on Tesla. So, all right, that's too bad because that was just a huge, huge play. So nice downside play there. I do want to give a big shout out to Adara, making some real money over there on the desk. So big shout out to Adara, the #1 trader here at right? Number one P&L right now at Trader TV Live is Miss Adara. So shout out to that right there. So congrats to Adara. I want to say get it to Adara. Congratulations. As that's all we have here is good vibes. We shout out good vibes. We shout out congratulatory statements all of the time. So congratulations, Adara. The number one P&L, and it's not even close today. So thank you to Adara for that one.
Good job there, Adara, for sure. Going to get back into Nike when we get an opportunity. I've got to look for the next trade, everybody. AMD is at VWAP. I know you're in that one, but I'm still looking for it a little bit. Actually, no, it's not at VWAP. Check that. AMD is not at VWAP just yet, but it's getting pretty close. We'll look for the reload if we get an opportunity there. Trend has been down and nice on that.
Oh my God, Tesla.
Apple also looking a little bit tipsy here. It's trying to make a little bit higher. Another move into this 247. The NASDAQ and the ES are still pulling the same move. You're still trying to hold that higher low. So you've wicked underneath, but this is the key 15-minute bar. Can you close it? If you close it above, or at least above this 60-17, 60-16, you can close above that. It's a bullish reversal. You close underneath, it's the opposite. So want to see this in the next 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. Are we able to do that? Hold. If you do, I want to look long for the VWAP. Reload those short opportunities if we close underneath it. So I think patience makes sense unless the stock is at the level that I like. So if it's maybe Nike off of VWAP, I don't mind that. Down here at $80, but I'm not buying any highs when the futures are trying to resolve themselves. You got to be at least a little bit more patient. And I saw in the chat, someone's like, why is Robinhood down? Because A, because the market's down, but B, specifically on that SEC news, remember that Coinbase didn't exactly have a good day when they had the same story last week. You know, they gapped up and then reverted the entire thing. But keep in mind, it said 47 on Robinhood, 50 period. It's also prior support. We get to 47 on Robinhood. I'm looking for longs. It's already broken 49 a couple times, so this is within spitting distance. We said that at the open, and it's like, what are the chances we get down there? Well, suddenly, there's a decent chance we see 47 on Hood. That's where I'm looking for the long on Robinhood.
All right. You're welcome, Hang. You're welcome to everybody there in the chat for this Tesla trade. Oh, that's so frustrating because, oh boy, we could have been joining the ranks of Adara as far as trading excellence because we should have hit that right there. But we got stopped out, man. We got stopped out by about 60 pennies on that trade. So yeah, that's too bad, right? Anyways, yeah, congratulations to all. And hopefully to all a good night on AMD. I mean, hopefully this will come back in, right? I mean, we're fine. I'll be red on the day because of that trade, right? And so, but that's okay. We'll get it back. I'm not worried about that. I'm just sad that we let it go down up there on Tesla because, like I said, what we had on board there would have turned all these frowns completely upside down. Instead, the frown increases, but it's okay. We went over to another name, right? And now we have never held this against us right here. AMD now representing that 50 period. There it is. Yes, sir. All right, we'll put another bid rate. Oh, we just held it up at 94. No, we didn't. Nice move down there for AMD. We said 108.50-ish would be a decent area. So I'm going to put a bid at 108.60-ish and get out a little bit more down there for AMD. And then hopefully we can get a little bit of a lower move if the market does come back in. So there it goes right now, man. Nice move to the downside. We have a bunch of videos out for those of you asking. So go check it out at Trader TV on YouTube. You'll get all of that. Over 9,800 of you watching, 1,700 likes. Get that like button going. Come on, AMD. Get to the downside right now. I'm short AMD, nothing right here for Neil, but we're waiting for more opportunities to go. So, that Tesla is going to make me sick, but that's okay. Palantir right here, cracking 90 as well. That low of the day right there, 89.40. Let's see what winds up happening with that one. But hopefully it's an AMD disaster day. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. So we'll go over to the desk right now at 10:27 with Adara.
Keep an eye here on the trade desk. TTD getting a little bit of a volume pop. I'm seeing this article circulated here on X. Apparently, Microsoft has launched a free ad-supported version of Office apps for Windows. The functionality is limited, but the ad-supported part is what's important here for TTD. They basically help with ads. They're an ad, related tech company. So TTD pushing to the upside here with some volume. on this report that Microsoft has launched an ad-supported version of their Office apps for Windows. Back to you.
All righty then. Yeah, daily range for Tesla, yeah, it's generally quite large. So 346 right there. We did have that pre-market high of 346. We do have that low down there of 324. So watch out now for Tesla coming back in. And again, though, you know, like we lamenting that trade, right? That's just because, again, when you put on size and it doesn't work out, it sucks, especially when 2 minutes later it does. But you know what, man? We put on our big boy pants and come right back. And then, I mean, this is what AMD's doing. So Neil, we got P&L number 1 with Palantir. We got P&L number 2 with AMD. We've got the disaster P&Ls with NVIDIA and Tesla. So let's just, you know, find out better trades and find out where we can put on some more liquidity. And again, we don't discuss share sizes, but you guys put on whatever trades and share size that you want. If you like certain trades, take them. If you don't, then don't. And put your ideas in the chat as well. Tweet them at us. You know, I put something out every morning a couple times about trade ideas and whatnot. So, you know, let me know what you guys are thinking. There goes Palantir there, breaking through 90 now to that downside. So, you know, mentally, hopefully I'll try to recover from this Tesla trade, but oh boy, did we have shares up here, and nice move to the downside. Congratulations to all that did it right there. But, you know, John's like, man, why is it not on your account? We already showed you and told you why, but we're happy to have AMD coming back in as well right now. So yeah, Walmart, yeah, Robinhood, again, like, some of these names, I know Neil just talked about it, but Robinhood also getting hit to the downside. Now, it's only down 5%, but Palantir went SSR a minute ago, now down 11.5%. So that Tesla is a hell of a banger. You are right about that one, guys.
JP Morgan's down. I mean, the fact that the XLF is actually up as it's not a miracle, but it's actually off the lows. But you're bleed everywhere in the market except for Apple and Nike, as far as I'm concerned. Just want to find the next opportunity that's right, because I look over and it's like the only thing that wasn't part of the initial trading plan was Apple. And like that's the one that's going to end up being a loss. Like Apple, the level was 245.5, and Apple was above 245.5, and I shorted it above it and took the L on it. But as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't break that low, I want to look for some kind of a long here on Apple. Nike is starting to pull right back into VWAP, so it looks like we might get an opportunity to jump back into this with this market. It's not looking very good, but at least Nike's relatively strong.
It's not working.
So this 80 level here on Nike, we're waiting for it to pull back into VWAP and that 80 level, and that's going to be hopefully it. Tesla's still doing its thing. AMD never got to VWAP for us. That's a great shorting stock. I think when you call it the advanced money destroyer, until proven otherwise, this thing is going to be a short. I was looking for a press a little bit higher to get a little tighter into that 110 level because I wanted to give it to 110. Didn't really break that 109.5. So just going to be patient. As I said, only had one miss hit. I think that's because I wasn't patient enough in Apple, and we'll see what comes next. I do still like Palantir for some reversions, but at this point, if you're going to try and kind of sniper Palantir for a long trade, it's going to have to make some kind of a distinct bottom. It just broke the low again. If you pull out the daily chart, I hate to say it, but you're now all of a sudden only a couple of percentage points away from that big 50-period moving average at 86. That's the go zone for Palantir. If it doesn't hold 90, 86 would be the one. Oh yeah, and Rivian. That was the other missed opportunity. That said, Rivian's at VWAP when the market's at the bottom. Rivian might be putting a little bit of a buy in here if it can hold above VWAP. We've seen it do this story before where it looks weak off a resistance level and then just starts holding VWAP for the rest of the day. So keep an eye on Rivian for that play. I just feel like it's going to be Nike at 90 if we even get a shot at it. Doesn't seem to want that VWAP there. I'm not really looking at crypto, but I am glad that Adara is about to give us the goods on what's going on in that sector.
Here's Bitcoin in the daily chart. Unfortunately, it's not a great look. We had sort of the double top here when we made all-time highs, though slightly above it, of course, to make that high. That was on Inauguration Day. Since then, we've only really had lower highs and lower lows for BTC. The next low that we could take out here, which was from last Tuesday, February 18th, that came in around 93.4. So right now, trading about 1,000 points above that at 94.4. Let's see if BTC continues its decline. But this would be its second straight losing day, and certainly a decline from that high that we made on February 21st at around 99,500, just shy of the 100,000 level. And in case you were not aware, we have not been above 100,000 since February 7th, and we haven't closed above 100K since February 3rd. In terms of crypto-related news, I think the biggest catalyst here by far in the crypto space is going to be Robinhood getting its SEC case dismissed, according to the company. So back in May 2024, there was an investigation opened by the SEC specifically into Robinhood's crypto division with regards to its asset listing, custody practices, and trading operations. They believed the company potentially violated some securities laws. Now the investigation has been closed, and this is the second investigation closed in basically 2 days, or at least 2 trading days, because Coinbase on Friday announcing that their investigation from the SEC has also been closed. So maybe some regulatory relief for the crypto space. BTC down about 1%. Ethereum getting hit harder here, hanging out around 26.5s, down about 5%. XRP down about 5%. Solana 9%. BNB 2%. Cardano and Doge both 6+%. So to make a long story short, lots of weakness in the world of crypto. Back to you.
We are still pushing this right here with AMD. So we're still going to watch to see. It's now near that bottom. I do have a bid here at 62s for some reason. Looks like I should just be at 70. So let me just change that right there. And then cancel. Oopsies, that's way too many shares. Let me just cancel that order now in the 60s. Keep it there in the 70s. And then there it is. Yes, sir. So that's a good one. We will get chicken dinner winner. Why not? Right there. Thank you. Those of you that missed me last week, I miss you as well. Glad to be back right now as well. So that's going to be a good one there. The missed trade of the day for me would be holding on to that trade. But we did do well by going right back into AMD, man. Put that butter right on that bread, and good trade there for us on AMD with that short. So making back a little bit right there on that play. All right, let's look. I want to check out some energy names. XOM today as well, 111 and change coming through. So that's 111, 111.50 to the top. Kind of boring right there. Occidental. I saw that Warren and change is sitting on a lot of cash. So we'll have to wait to see if they're in there to buy some Oxy. Nice little downside move into their 46. Might be buying the other kind of Oxy. I don't know. But right now, Oxy, nice move to the upside as Occidental. Not today, but off that bottom, 46. Where's the buy level right now? We'll have to find out about that. I didn't read enough about the Berkshire letter there to see what their plans are moving forward. But with that name, I was going to look again. Apple was a name that we often talk about. Into VWAP there could be a dip buy up on the day, which is nice, up at 3/4 versus the market down 3/4. ES also down a little bit. The market did try to recover, but not for very long there today. So this could be a decent opportunity there. Thing is, we're starting to, I'm still trying to push that short. So for right now, we're going to do that. My next trade is just trying to wait for AMD, see if we can get it back to any of these levels, including a VWAP trade. I just don't know if that's going to be coming through as well. And then before we go back to Neil, the other trade that we had short was going to be Rivian. So I wonder if that can come back up to the 200 period as well and look for a reloaded short there. Doesn't seem like there's too much action happening. We wear our high park hat because we were at baseball evaluations on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
That time of year.
That was a lot of fun. Then we had to drive up to Gravenhurst, where your Etobicoke Dolphins took down the North Bay Trappers. Okay, nice move to the downside. One more time here for Advanced Micro Devices. Bang! It is your money trade of the day. This is now the #1 P&L stock here is AMD. Neil, kill him with kindness.
Where can you find trading opportunities? I'll tell you where. With eSignal traders, because listen up, the first month is going to be free. They're waiving fees over at eSignal. Try it out for free. Lightning fast data, highly customizable charts, entitlements pretty much on every single market that you could imagine. The ability to back test, forward test, all of the indicators and studies that you would want so that you can trade confidently, get those lightning fast market insights with game-changing charts with eSignal. It's all about the all-in-one platform. You can connect to your broker or many brokers out there, the ability to connect to an API as well if you want to automate your trading. Shout out to eSignal. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Scan the QR code you see right in front of you. Free is a pretty good opportunity, everybody. If you don't like it, you just drop it. So take a shot over at Easton. The link is in the description as well. Market heading back into the downside. Nike is trying to hold on to VWAP, trying to hold on to trend. It's trying to close above the trend line. Once it does that, they're going to look for the long off VWAP back into the highs, up 5% on Nike. It's broken out on the daily. Whoops, there you go. That's my Easton. Oh, the other one's not there. So we'll just use this and go to Nike. Broken out when this loads on the daily here, but it is still trying to battle with that 200 period. So we've broken that 79. We're trend up into a into a relatively weak market. But once we close this trend above, going to look for the long in Nike, and then the next trade as well, kind of hunting for that Palantir. It might have done the reversion already, so I have to get into that Nike trade. The Palantir VWAP, if we don't get the bottom, then we got to start looking for the VWAP fade. Worth noting, 93 was resistance when we had the long on Palantir before. So double barrel resistance. I don't mind a 93 curl or VWAP curl on Palantir. Down 10%, so it is SSR. When a stock is short sell restricted, sometimes it can really get going. There is the close above the trend line on Nike. So we'll go into the long off 36, give it to the prior bar low. If it breaks 80s, then we're out of Nike. Probably want to look at Apple as well if you're trying to hunt for relatively strong stocks, but that just lost VWAP. So oddly enough, this ends up being an L here. Shorting it, could have jumped back into the short, but at the end of the day, we were looking at a lot of strength there in Apple, and the market was bouncing off of those highs. So right now, Apple underneath VWAP. I'd prefer to be long this stock, but we'll see how it resolves here underneath VWAP in the next 15 minutes or so. We waited around for that chance to get back into Nike. And Bill Ackman likes it. I like trend lines. We'll see if it ends up heading to the upside, back into this 81 here in Nike. Remember, up at these highs, is it rejecting the 200 period on the daily? So I would suspect there's some sellers here a second time through.
Okay. So the only thing that I was looking, I'm trying to look at Apple here. So I do have some bids. Apple just came back in, but it didn't really get in too low. I was trying to wait for this 245.50 area to have a look. So I was going to start buying some 245.75. So if that does come in, I am bidding again a big position down there at 245.75 just to try to see if we can hold those levels there. We're out of about 55% now. I'm going to get out another 5%. There it is at 75s there on AMD. It seems like it wants to hold these levels. So now we have 40% left of AMD at this level. So I'm happy with that amount. So we'll wait to see if that can go upside. So that's AMD. And then I was just trying to look through Palantir and try to figure out, if a break of VWAP and what that kind of looks like there on some of these plays for Palantir. So I'm going to do some work on this, and then we'll figure out what we need to do, because that VWAP right there is 93.50 or so on Palantir. That could, we broke it there on Thursday, and we went from 101 up to 103. We broke it there at around the same time, 10.50 or so on Friday, but then didn't really get going at all. So yeah, I'm not sure about that kind of a VWAP break on PLTR, but we'll wait for it to see what is going on. All right, big day today, and big green screen with Adara.
Some green in this market here, including in health technology, consumer non-durables, consumer services, communications, and health services, with the exception of UNH. In case you missed it, UNH actually a day 2 move, because on Friday there were some reports here they're going to be facing an DOJ investigation. Also basically DOJ investigation to CRWD CrowdStrike over here in technology services. That name and Palantir are selling off pretty heavily. There's also some weakness in Microsoft, Meta, Oracle, and Netflix, though Google trying to bring this group up to the upside. Electronic technology has NVIDIA down about 1.4% despite initial attempts for this name to push to the upside off the open. Broadcom also selling off pretty heavily here. Now, in terms of other areas, of weakness, retail trade not looking great. Walmart, this would be earnings day 3, is selling off here along with Amazon and Home Depot, though other sectors here like commercial services are relatively flat. So pretty mixed picture, but there is some green to be found in this market, guys. Back to you.
It's not all bad. That Alphabet story.
Not down that much.
Yeah, Alphabet holding the lows there. They were one of the strong ones. We actually didn't talk about this in the pre-market, but they were one of the strong ones, but wasn't doing anything with that open trade. It just sort of lost it like everything else. But the Friday low managed to hold. I know if you're watching in the morning on Friday, or pretty much all day long on Friday, like I know both Obi and I were looking for that bottom on Alphabet. It was one of those, you could get away with the longs on it, but it wasn't really following through. I like Apple. I like Alphabet at that 200 period moving average. Why? Because the stock has been respecting it. So I don't know if today is going to be the day, but I suspect this week we might get a test for a reload in the long term, I should say, on Alphabet. We'll see if we end up getting it. But the only new trade is Nike, and so far so good on that one as it's bouncing off VWAP, just headed to 80.60. Let's see if we can get back into that high of the day at 81. Nike holding strength, market holding weakness. The trend is your friend, everybody.
Yep. Yeah, dollar right now on AMD. Thank you for asking, Sharif. There it goes. So nice move there for AMD as we just sit back and relax. And remember, you know, many traders around here that we've had in the back, many traders, they'll trade in sim mode. And I mean, you know, winning in sim mode is one thing. Actually trading to make money is a completely other thing. So remember, it's a mental game what trading is. So you got to stay in that zone. And we're reminded of that today when we talked about, you know, giving up that Tesla trade. You know, and it's just like, if I'm in sim mode here or trading in small shares, it's easy to hold certain things, you know, but when you actually have skin in the game is when it matters, you know. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands, like, you know, it's one thing to see some of these trades. It's another thing to be in them, right? And so get comfortable doing that. That's like my number one advice to you. You know, is get comfortable making decisions that you would make regardless of share size. And I think that that's something that means a lot to all the successful traders around here. It's you can't ever get to that level until you're at that level. And once you get there, you'll know what I mean, right? So we're all trying to up our games and add more and more shares to all of the trades that we have as you get better. But, you know, if you're in that zone right now where it's like, I'm like not really feeling it, then that's where you should be lowering your default, not going the other way. So again, you know, take everything for what it's worth. But like this trade for me right there, this is why I'm trying to tell you, AMD PL number 1, Palantir PL number 2. These are the two biggest P&L names on the show. So where are the two biggest losers? Tesla is the biggest losing P&L day today, and it's on NVIDIA as well. So these two stocks right there, 2 for 2, bad side and red today is what I am. So that's what's happening right there on Tesla. But hey, man, you know, you take your shots and you deal with it. And we're going to come back, and we're not worried about it. But just letting you guys know that those are the trades. 109.50. We just took that dollar. We only now have 35% left on this trade. So we're just trying to take it out slow, piece by piece. And again, remember what we called when we were in this trade. We called 108.50, and it was just in this area. So now that we're seeing that, we're starting to get out more and more of this as we finally start to base out. So there it goes again and again and again. No, I know zero gravity. I don't want anybody interested in my P&L. I'm just trying to tell you guys that until you actually put the trades on, it's a completely different beast, and you got to get comfortable trading more share size. And until you do that, you know, you're just sort of pissing in the wind, right? And so that's the one thing there. But hey, put them together. Trading is a 98% failure rate. So, you know, it's not an easy game, but at the same time, I think Neil and I are doing a good job, and we all do on the show, of showing you, you know, what trades we're interested in, what we're looking at. Neil and I have completely gotten away, and maybe we should get back to it, of trading anything small cap.
There was none I liked today.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Last week there was a few. There was a couple of.
No, I'm saying, but if you rewind, let's just say 6 months, definitely we were in many more names than we were today. So me and Neil definitely focusing on big cap names. The midday guys will focus more on mid cap names or small cap names, and that's sort of how we're doing it in and around here.
So Anthony, I want to address this. Anthony C3 says, whoops. Oh, sometimes the chat moves fast, but there you are right in there. It's a statistical 78% failure rate according to brokerages.
Yeah, it's way higher than that.
Yeah, I don't know what style of trading that's talking about. Like, who knows? Like, because if that could be like lumping maybe like some swingish, long-termish buy-hold stuff into primarily active trading. I can tell you for specifically day trading on a prop floor, it is much higher than that. So specifically, my guess is that statistic, 78%, is lumping some buy and hold sort of long-term swing strategies in there, which is going to skew the averages and help it out a little bit. Much harder than that, everybody. So when you're focusing on trying to like refine your execution, one thing I found is like trying to make sure that you're getting in at a price level or at an area that it makes sense to you, so you know where you're wrong. Like if VWAP breaks on, I almost said Nvidia, on Nike, then we jump out of it. But for now, it's looking pretty good here.
Wow.
And I want to go with SMCI and AMD sort of next. So SMCI is now respecting VWAP. Get rid of that trend line. That's from Friday. Completely irrelevant. But SMCI is starting to hold underneath VWAP. 7% down. Every second that ticks on this thing. Why is this still Nike? I flipped to SMCI. Every time, yeah, it might be. All right, that chart's going to crash. I'll just stick with a 3-minute. Every second that ticks here on SMCI is closer to the deadline for them. And I feel as if it was just a little bit of trepidation here. Even with that big bounce we saw at 50, can't get above VWAP. It showed a lot of strength. If we fail VWAP again, I'd look for a short trade. AMD didn't want to give us VWAP before, but it's right back into those lows. So sometimes you just got to maybe get away from a particular execution strategy like short in front of VWAP, and I could have taken the trend trade there. I'm glad Sean got into it. It was a great one. But I have a strategy for that, and it's like the reversion. So you can revert it in the other direction, which would have been to the downside here on AMD. Next pop, maybe I'll look for that trend break. Adara?
US dollar here on the daily chart, if we're going to look at it from a technical standpoint, just continuing on this downtrend that we've basically been in since we made this most recent high here on January 13th. Since then, it's been a series of lower highs and lower lows for that US dollar. Next area of support or resistance really coming in here at around 101 halves, currently trading around 106.6 for the USD. So what economic events do we have to look forward to today? Not a lot in terms of any numbers releases, but we do have some Trump talk to be aware of. Donald Trump greeting Macron here, the president of France, at 12:15. Then there'll be apparently meeting at 12:20. There'll be a press conference at 2 p.m. I looked into this. There's nothing immediately market moving that I could see that would be discussed here. It's more likely going to be geopolitical. But regardless, we will keep an eye on the Twitter sphere, see if anything is said with regards to this meeting that will be of notice. Tomorrow we get some Fed speak, including Fed's Barkin and Fed's Bar. And then if we go forward later in the week, as of Thursday, we're going to be getting some GDP data and more Fed speak. And then Friday, we're getting PCE. So I think Thursday, Friday are going to be the bigger days when it comes to economic data that could be market moving. Be aware of that, but also be aware, today I'm not seeing any Fed speakers on the docket, but other than that, they're on watch pretty much every day this week. So Fed speak, certainly something to be aware of, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, we talked about it being a huge week, so we'll get the earnings calendar out to you guys soon as well. Yeah, HIMS up, Nike up 5%.
HIMS is reporting.
Ooh, Berkshire.
That's a big one, man. HIMS 32.5% short float. Shout out to the Jedi in the chat, or just Jedi in the chat. We appreciate the super chat here. Morning, HIMS and Zoom today. Any thoughts? Well, that's kind of why I was just throwing out there that HIMS is going to be a big one. Last week, HIMS was, let's just say, a bit of a volatile beast. Can't speak for Zoom. I haven't really looked at the stock. But HIMS, we just talked about the escalator up and the elevator down. This was elevator up, elevator down on HIMS. The good news, I think, is because it's dropped so far, at least it has a better chance to squeeze back into the upside, because HIMS has already pulled back 30-something% after the Friday run plunge, and then, of course, another 5% in here for HIMS. So you get a bit of a trend reversal, I think, could happen, already happening here on HIMS. I think you've got to be a little bit patient. Just look to see if it's going to, like, it's at the VWAP. You got to break out that 48 level, I think, and then maybe start making a couple more higher lows. When you're taking that bottom trend reverse, if you're not long there, picking it up before it actually breaks out the top is a little bit tricky because it could stay on trend. Zoom is one that I haven't looked at Zoom in quite some time. I can tell you we use it pretty much exclusively here. That's not helping the stock down 3% today. And usually when I see this, Like if you're not short the flat bottom break, wait for it to get to the next big level. 78, there it is. Lovely graphic. 78 is the next level here on Zoom. It already gave you a flat bottom break. I think if you had that in this morning, I'd ask what the catalyst would have been to have taken it. But 78 level once, twice, and very likely thrice. It looks like the stock wants to see it. We like Zoom.
All right. Yeah. Zoom is a good stock there. Look at AMD. AMD right now more than $1 as it continues to go to the downside. We're out of BABA, man. We sold at 137. We talked about that on Thursday when we were here. I was like, I'm getting out of this stock. So we did get out of Alibaba at 137 on Thursday after market. Maybe it might have been 136 and change. I have to check the liquidity on it, but we're out of Alibaba. We talked about that huge move to the upside. So last time we had got out in and around 117.50, made the move down, just made that move up. Now down 10% today is Alibaba. So, and again, that was a reported trade that I had talked about on Thursday that we were going to get out after hours there on Alibaba. The only trade that we were waiting for here this afternoon, or this during the after part of the closing part of this show, was to get that Apple long. And unfortunately, it didn't come into the 200 period moving average, but what a good long that had been right there. We are under 30% left now. I'm going to put another bid. There we go. Take another 5%. So we have 20x%, low 20s left now on AMD as this name just keeps coming out to that downside there. So for me on the TQQs, like I still want to get short here for sure today. And I would think this 50 period moving average is just like, we got, waxed is the wrong word because we didn't. But I was just going to say there on Tesla, the problem is that we had gotten out there. Now, I don't, as Neil mentioned there, you got to find the key levels. And I think that that's something that, I don't know why 332, 40s or whatever, that 333s, I guess, was the high. We used 332 and change there to get out once it broke. And then now you're seeing that move back in right now. So not a great play there so far here for the name that is Tesla. I wish we were still in that. We are not as Tesla continues to make that move lower here. So not a great day for TSLA. What was the for there?
New low on NVIDIA.
Oh, okay, good. Well, hopefully new low on AMD too.
Yeah, it's just one of those, if the market hasn't made a new low and NVIDIA has made a new low and holds underneath it, then the market's probably about to, because that's just how NVIDIA rolls. That's why they're the most important stock out there.
Yeah,
definitely this week, certainly, but we'll see if we can get one more bounce. If we hold the low and bounce off VWAP, I'm going to reload Nike. And then I also saw someone talking about Nikola to the downside. Remember, if you're trading Nikola, they've already filed bankruptcy. I don't know why we weren't looking short on Nikola today. I'm saying when someone files bankruptcy, just look for the short every single day. There was another good one off the open. Didn't really pay attention to it too much. But I think if it holds on to VWAP, I kind of like what it's doing here. Might go pay for the locates and see if we can't grab that one. But not looking very good at all for NVIDIA. And brings me back over to Apple. Apple, again, trying to hold on to VWAP. So the market's at the low, both the ES and the NASDAQ. It's put up or shut up for two of the strong stocks, and that's holding VWAP on Nike and Apple. Otherwise, we have to start looking for the other direction on both of these. SMCI did say I want to look short off of VWAP. It's not getting there with the market breaking these lows. It might just be a 52 breakdown. So if I don't get a chance to short off VWAP here on SMCI, then I'll just take a break of this low as long as the market's still looking weak. So I just heard BABA flat bottom break. Well, I have a trail on that one that probably, did it fill? No. Yeah, of course it did. Yeah, of course it did. You broke the prior high. So 132 did break. It broke this prior high. We put that trail on last week. Put that trail in, I should say, on Alibaba. So I've taken some out. I'm still in it for the long term, but I wanted to take profit at some level, but didn't have a price target in mind. So I put a trailing stop on it. And that triggered today. And it's now SSR. So you know what that means. It was already SSR. 10% down, double bottom on Alibaba. Next trend reversal, I'll probably take a shot at this. Very much like Palantir, though. Has to break trend, stop at the prior low, gets to VWAP, get out. Very simple plan when you're making the reversion. SSR, I can't remember the last time BABA was SSR, actually. I can't even think of it.
Probably a month ago. Okay, so we'll check it out. All right, not much else. Like nothing's really hitting. I mean, the market, although downside action there, we just talked about like, you know, making sure that you're trading the right names, the names that are actually moving around and whatnot. So like XOM was hitting, I mean, Disney was coming across there, dis.ny, of course. What is that price? Yeah, underneath 110. SPY, Robinhood trying to catch a bid there. Palantir's at 90. Q's, Tesla. Walmart, while Walmart's getting absolutely destroyed, it's going to continue to do that. What's wrong with my charts? Disney. Oh, it's stuck on Disney. Okay, Walmart. I'm going to say like down 3%. Like this is what I mean by destroyed. I mean, it's down a lot off of this apparent record earnings that they had. 104 all the way down to 92. Like you're down 15%. So we want to talk about trimming certain positions and whatnot. Like, I mean, I don't know, if you didn't get out of Walmart, you're now all the way back to January, going to break the year maybe on Walmart and give everything back all year here on WMT. What went parabolic, kind of stair-steppy a little bit to the upside, has elevator down pretty dramatically on Walmart. So just be careful on that stock. Like, not really certain of what to go on there, but Walmart right now, nice downside move off of earnings. Big Bear, maybe we'll buy some of this. Not maybe, we will buy some of this here this afternoon. Big Bear AI down to $6. I like the $5 level. If we can get that, that'd be good as well. So we'll add some more to our, shout out Charlie Taft there as well. We talked about buying some Big Bear over the last couple of days, so we're going to be doing that again right now. Good covers down there on AMD, man. Not bad. You know, couple wins, couple losses there today. And again, a big shout out to Adara for holding fort there. Maybe she'll talk about it more on the midday. But here we go with only 20 seconds left. We'll see everybody very, very soon, 2 p.m. But on the midday, they're talking about something? We're talking about, chart patterns on the midday. So check out these two's favorite chart patterns. Yeah, of course. And there's always a lot of talk other than stock. So that'll be push-up talk, I'm sure, as Neil just showed you right there in the midday as well. So if you're here for banter, it's a great opportunity as well. So, all right, man. So far, so good, man. Palantir holding the line at $90.
Yeah, it's managed to catch that bid. Remember, Palantir is SSR, so you can't hit, if it makes a flat bottom break, you can't hit that short unless there's an uptick. That can give fuel to some of those longs if you look for that right entry point. But it is a negative day for the market, almost 1% to the downside. Some relative strength here in a few names. We talked about Nike. I want to get Intel up because I just heard Intel.
They released some new chips.
Okay, Intel released a new chip, but it's barely moving on that. So 3%, 3.5% to the downside. Intel still looking good on the daily chart if you pull it out, but not a huge move there. It is 11 o'clock. We'll be back at 2 for you. Hopefully the market does a little bit of a bounce because I know you guys are going to vote for that playmaker long, despite the fact we're having a red day. Yes. Let's see what the Bash Brothers have to say about that.
Will. Yes, they will. Bash Brothers.
Can't hear the music. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That's your boy Joey Options with the tan.
He's back. Sure. We're back.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back now, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Yes,
How was
sir.